This is Pocket Watching with JT, the call-in financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jayson Thornton is a certified financial planner, licensed in both tax and investments. Now, this is not personal financial advice. This is JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Are you deep in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and looking for a way out? Call Pocket Watching with JT, the financial advisor for the people. Need more? Book your personal consultation with my man JT at pocketwatcher.net. Now, let's go Pocket Watching.
Hey, Pocket Watchers. Welcome to Pocket Watching with JT. Listen, I know it is Sunday night, and we've got a very special episode of Pocket Watching with JT. For those of you who are new, with this close to 75,000 subscribers, I am financial advisor Jayson Thornton. I'm a certified financial planner, and I react to financial stories focused in the Black community. And tonight, I think we got a good one. So listen, strap on in, sit back. We have to have an extended conversation. All right. Now, listen, I know I've covered stories about people who have made it big in the podcasting network, and they've been selling courses and they've been selling all of this great financial information. And a lot of the times, like over 80% of the times, these people have no idea what they're talking about. They're selling you information that they found online, that they Googled, or information that they got from someone else's course and packaged it into their own course and shipped it out. But tonight, I'm bringing back, of course, Tony the Closer. He has another investigation that has been blowing my mind. If y'all are not subscribed to Tony the Closer's YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe. A link to his channel is in the description of this video, and I'm pretty sure my moderators are going to be dropping the link to his channel in the chat. But listen, Tony has been on almost a warpath when it comes to these investigations, and let me explain, he's not seeking it. The stuff comes to him. All right? And here's a really good reason why. Tony has a big platform. See, I think people get confused about how this social network, social media stuff works. A lot of these so-called fake gurus, they have hundreds and thousands of subscribers. If they partake in some bad business practices and the people who feel as if they've been scammed, whenever they try to speak up, whenever they try to write into the chats and the comments, these big time fake gurus block them. Tony the Closer has a big enough platform that when they DM him or they send him information, these other big platforms blocking him don't mean that much. The victims actually get a voice. All right. So I'm going to bring Tony up now because honestly, I think it's best for him to explain the situation, how he got here. And then especially I want to do a play-by-play of a live that Tony did with DJ Envy. DJ Envy, there was enough buzz to make DJ Envy go live with Tony on Instagram. And I want Tony to go play-by-play and break this down. But let me bring Tony up first so he can explain what has been going on. Tony the Closer is in the building. What's going on, Tony?
What's up, JT? I look blurry.
All right. Tell him to focus the lens on you, man. See, I work by myself. Tony got a whole team. I got an autofocus lens on me. He's got a whole team that does it for him.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Listen, people call me like, oh, JT, your investigations. Nah. I'm a reaction channel. I react to stuff. Like I react to people who file bankruptcy. Why? Because the bankruptcy is public information. I can pull that stuff. I react to people's nonprofit organizations who claim they got a nonprofit. Why? Because a tax return for a nonprofit organization, that's public information. I can read it. I can react to it. You're doing full-on American greed investigations with with victims or, you know, people who claim to be victims of scams. So I got to hear about it. How do we get from big business, Greg, big business, whatever, to Caesar of flipping NJ? How did that even happen?
Man, I appreciate you bringing me back on your show, first and foremost. I'd like to say hello to Jovi in the comments. I see Jovi just said, Tony the Closer, another scammer. Just to address you, just like with anything else, if you can bring information that provides that says that I've scammed somebody, I'll gladly address it. But until you do that, anything that you're saying right now is slander and defamation. So be careful what you say on these streets, because I'm gonna start holding you guys accountable for the shit that comes out your mouth. Now, basically what has been happening in the last couple of weeks is I've obviously been talking about big business and what's been happening with that entire huge Ponzi scheme that's been going on with his investors. So live, and I was just basically asking the investors, I was like, hey man, I just want to get a roundabout number in this current live right now. Just comment, how much money have you lost? And when I made the comment to tell people to comment how much they lost, the comments were like 20,000, 40,000, 100,000, etc. And then somebody in the comment section that had a fake page said, $1 million.
Stop.
I said, man, that's a fake page. I was like, I said, man, get out of here.
Ain't no way. What?
I was like, man, I just had to flag my, you know, like I'm like on live, I'm like, man, here, okay, get out of here. Like $1 million. No, you don't need, like, nobody has $1 million. Like, get out of here,
Right.
like $1 million. And then he commented again. No, I'm serious. I invested $1 million with Caesar and DJ Envy. And then I go, whoa, I'm talking about big business now, right?
Right.
So this catches me just like, I mean, this is a bombshell that just comes into the comment section. I'm literally focused on big business. And this guy comes in and says, yeah, DJ Envy and Caesar got me for $1 million. I go, ain't no damn way. I said, man, you got to send a receipt. Send a receipts. Like, I'm not entertaining it. And as I'm on live, he's like, I got those, no problem. And he immediately begins to send me DMs with two $500,000 screenshots. And I actually have all the screenshots and everything here with me today. So I think we can make this today. I would like to be able to share my screen a little bit and
yeah, absolutely.
And show you guys some of this stuff, because I was, you know, when you start hearing these numbers, like, you just immediately, for me, I'm like, I'm calling BS. I'm like, man, there's no, like, who in the heck got this type of money first and foremost? And there's no way you would have gotten for that much money.
Right. I mean, when we talk about $1 million, when you have $1 million to invest with someone, you feel like you've been swindled, defrauded, whatever. Most likely, you don't think that person needs Tony the Closer to help broadcast the scam. You had $1 million. You should be able to hold a press conference. You should be able to do something to bring some heat. But I think people underestimate the power of social media.
So 100% correct. And even more important than that, a lot of this stuff happens because people are completely embarrassed to even be in a position. And a lot of them are being misled and drug along. So it's not like, sometimes it's not that they just disappear. It's like, hey, I promised a certain date, but oh, something happened, and then something else happened. Oh, my grandma died. Oh, my father died. So these tragic events in life that come about are reasons to kind of stall out actually executing on the agreed upon contract. So this particular investor, he acquired his money in a very, very interesting way. He had a medical malpractice lawsuit. He almost died.
Okay.
So he said, hey man, I was watching, and I hate to say that, he was watching a certain interview on a certain network. And just, I'm not even going to do it, but he was watching a certain network. He saw the interview, and he decided that he wanted to invest. And he was like, because he actually had $3 million that he got out of his settlement.
Right.
He said, I wanted to do something smart with my money. I don't want to mess this up. I wanted, I just didn't want to fuck it up.
Right.
This was his exact words to me. It was like, hey man, I'm watching these guys with a huge platform. Obviously they're celebrity like endorsements, like it's all this stuff. It looks official. I found them on what I would deem as a respectable network, and I made the investment. I didn't want to mess up the money. He literally said, man, I could have went and bought a McLaren and something crazy, but he was like, I was thinking
it's life-changing money. I mean, you get $3 million, especially when you talk about like medical malpractice, I think you said, right? That's life-changing money. For most people don't realize, normally if you get like some sort of personal injury type of settlement, that's tax-free money too. So that makes it even better because normally that money isn't even taxed. So he gets life-changing money. He's watching, I'm assuming he's watching a big podcast. Do I at least got that close, Tony? Is it like a big podcast or a radio show?
Something a very known podcast that he was watching.
A very known podcast, and they're interviewing somebody.
There was an interview, and I'm not doing this bullshit with you today, JT. Like he was watching a very popular podcast,
right?
And based off seeing him on that podcast, he said he felt like, hey man, this is a legit, person I would like to do business with. And I can understand it. It was like, hey, look, everything would make sense to where people would be trusting into doing business with what they were seeing. So he actually invested $1 million. He gave two $500,000 cashier checks.
Okay.
And my screen, I didn't do the little loud thing before I came on, so I freaking messed this up. I don't know if my screen share is gonna work.
And listen, you can send it to my share. I got Eli in the back. I want to bring Eli up real quick, and that gives you an opportunity to get your screen together. Okay.
All right, bet.
All right, perfect.
Great. Can you hear me and see me clearly, JT?
Officer E, go right ahead.
Yeah. So the first thing that I want to address here, we are not talking about selling a course here. We are talking about financial services that were supposed to be rendered and delivered to investors that wasn't.
Right.
See, I'm reading the comments right now and people are talking about scam. And it's very important that if we're going to go about this and operate and negotiate and talk and debate in a good faith way, words matter. These individuals were not selling courses. They were selling financial services where they were going to take investors' money, similar to big business, and acquire a piece of real estate, renovate said real estate, and then sell it for a profit and give back the initial investment plus 20%. When you buy a course from someone, whether the course is good or bad, you get the course.
You got a course.
Here, what's happening is people are not getting the financial services that they are investing into. When we actually look at the documentation, and I have the documentation up here on my screen. See, when I speak directly, I speak clearly. I use names. I don't slander. I go for court records and documentation. The lady Amy Flips, invested $500,000 with Cesar Pina and his wife Jennifer, with the intentions of acquiring 2 pieces of property that was then going to be renovated and then sold. And within 5 months, they were going to give her back her initial investment plus 20%. They believed so much in their guru abilities that they guaranteed her that even if they couldn't return a profit with that investment, they would still give her the 20% plus the actual initial investment based upon the court documents here. Well, we know how that ended up. Go ahead.
I want to see the document, but I want to make sure I got this straight. These gurus, with enough confidence in their own ability, said that they are going to guarantee an investor. Not only will they be able to return their initial principal investment, that even if the investment goes sour, they're going to go in their own pocket and provide the initial startup capital and the 20%. So no matter what happens, this investor is going to make 20% on their investment money. They promised
based upon what's in the court, but based upon
Based
what's
on
in
the
the actual filings, this is what the lady is alleging, right? Now, the reason why I believe what she's saying is because it turns into the big business Greg Parker situation all over again. Okay. Once one person comes out now with something in black and white on paper, now you have 5, 10, 15 other people who come out with the same exact story. Now, remember, big business, not big business, you know, but we're talking about business. He was taking people's money and going and get properties in Cleveland that he then was going to do construction on. See, what I want you guys to understand here is that what we're witnessing here is a Ponzi scheme. Because as we go into the actual court documents, what ends up happening now, the lady, because see, people keep saying, oh, you need to educate yourself. These are educated investors. They knew what they were investing in. The problem is when the individual got the money, he didn't do with the money what he said he was going to do. I don't care how much due diligence you do. I don't care how much information you have. If a person's not operating as a good fiduciary with your money, they're just not operating as a good fiduciary with your money, right? You can invest your money with Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. It doesn't matter. The best hedge fund. If the hedge fund manager decides to go out here and blow that money, that's where the fraud comes into play. Because now what we understand is when we look at the documents, she starts asking questions that any investor would ask in regards to when's the payout going to happen? Can I actually see proof of the purchase of these properties? And they could never produce the actual documentation showing that they purchased 2 properties with her money. That was the first red flag, right? Because remember, if you're acquiring properties to renovate them, then I should be able to see the purchase agreement. I should be able to see the sale. You should be able to show me how much did you pay for the property, right? I can't just take your word for it. We're doing business here. Well, not only could they not provide it, but when she went and started doing her own digging, she found out that the 2 properties that they were trying to acquire, they had already owned them prior to doing business with her.
Stop it.
Think about this for a second. They're telling her they're going to use her money to acquire a property, allegedly. She then later presses them. They can't produce the purchase agreement and the sale documentation for her. So then she goes and does her own digging and finds out those 2 individuals had already owned the very property that they were claiming to be able to go out here and purchase. So now this is where the Ponzi scheme aspect comes into play, because the money that she gave them never went to acquiring a property. So now the next question needs to be, where did that money go? Did that money go to paying new investors? Because see, now what we start finding out, we'll get to the documentation in a second. Now you start coming out with all these other people talking about they gave $500,000, they gave $1 million, they gave $250,000, and then he tried to pay them with checks that bounced. Now I want you to understand here, if a person is taking in millions of dollars and they're bouncing $11,000 checks and they're bouncing $20,000 checks, it's safe to say we have a serious problem here. So now.
The well has run dry, super dry. If they're getting that much money coming in, but they can't cover small time checks like 11 and 12 or even 20 or 30 or even $50,000 checks, if they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars of investor money.
Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I'm pulling up the right thing here.
All right, I'm gonna bring Tony back up. Look like Tony's ready. There you go.
Yeah, I'm here.
So boom.
Real quick, because there's some people who are really new to this whole story. Who the hell is Caesar? I'm sure everyone watching knows DJ Envy. Who the hell is Caesar?
I'll show you. I'll show you who he is.
All right. Because I've seen, clips of them working together or talking about, we're doing, I guess, seminars, is it? They do like seminars. And shouts out to WMB the third in Ghana, $50 super chat, says expose them. Listen, there's some people online who don't like this type of content. These are people who just say they only want to see the good stories. But if we only tell you about the good stories, you won't understand how real business and transactions work, right? If I did a story about all the people who won the lottery, you would be confused to think winning the lottery is easy because most people lose.
And I think
to
that that's
tell
the
you
key,
both sides.
JT. I think that that's 1000% the key here. You cannot talk about entrepreneurship and financial literacy without talking about the possibility of losing your money. When you are an entrepreneur, you can lose absolutely everything you put in and more. You can go bankrupt in some cases. It is important that if you are going to be a financial journalist and you are talking about financial literacy, you have to weigh out both the pros and the cons. See, what's happening here now is because we were in a bubble, you have a lot of people who are posing as entrepreneurs, posing as being financially literate, when in reality, they really are just a function of a bubble. They happen to get lucky by being in the right place at the right time. And now what's happening is that now that everything is starting to contract and collapse, many of these individuals are starting to realize, number one, they weren't even engaging in real estate. So the lifestyle that they've built up, they didn't even build it through real estate. They didn't build it through stock trading. They didn't build it through crypto. They built it purely through a Ponzi scheme. They've built it by taking other people's money and perpetrating a lifestyle that you cannot get from actually being a legitimate entrepreneur like that. These people are living larger than life lifestyles, like almost like an athlete or like a celebrity. And that's just not the reality. It's not that money's not coming from actual entrepreneurship. It is coming from defrauding people. It's not coming from selling courses. It's not coming from selling real estate. It's coming from absolutely outright deceiving and defrauding people.
Oh man! Hey, shout out to Wrench Turner. Shout out to Philip Sadiq. We got Rhonda's unpopular opinion. I'm subscribed. Go subscribe to her. I like her content. We got, let me see here. We got AQ Inspirational Champion in the buildings, and these people are worse than MLM CEOs. Expose them. Yes, absolutely. And we have Lewis Luck says the show should be called Earn Your. I think it's liaison and liaison, because you will, if you invest with the people they promote. It's listen, I don't want to make it sound one-sided. Obviously, there's a lot of great interviews that happen on a lot of these finance podcast shows. Not everyone who pops up on these shows are straight out scammers. I think the issue that specifically me and Eli have is that they are not upfront about the financial relationships that they have with a lot of the guests, so-called guests that they have on their show, and they don't take on the responsibility of making their audience aware when they do hear about some kind of fraudulent behavior. The most you'll get out of them is they'll take the video down. Well, that doesn't matter after the video's got 1.5 million views and that person already has a level of trust from the community because they were on your platform. You taking the video down, most people don't rewatch podcasts. I mean, some hardcore fans do, but most people don't even watch the full podcast. They'll watch like 20 to 30% of the podcast, then they move on. You taking the video down doesn't mean much to a person who's not really checking for that interview a second, third, or fifth time. They are already impacted. You have to come out with a statement and say something. Otherwise, I think you're doing a disservice to the audience. I mean,
also,
I think.
Let's take a step back, Ray. I think that we're getting ahead of ourselves because I'm going to play a clip where surprisingly, Troy, Richard, and DJ Envy are having a conversation as to what do you do when you have a guest on your platform and you find out that the things that they were saying isn't true. I'm going to play that clip once Tony actually gets into who is Caesar and why DJ Envy is involved in this, because see, context matters. I am not sitting up here hating on EYL and Earn Your Leisure because see, I'll say a name. I respect what they've built. They've built something amazing. And in order for that to stay amazing, sometimes you have to do the ugly things to keep your integrity. Because see, I know what the HOTEP, the Back to Africa, the Red, Black, and Green, the B1s, the EYL supporters, the pro-Black group economics people are going to say, oh, you're taking just a small few guests and trying to make it seem like the whole platform is full of scammers. Well, how would you know if you're not doing any background research on the information that's being shared? How would you know that only a few scammers are because guess what? If Tony doesn't go out here and push against Jay and then push against big business, we never find out about Caesar.
Never.
See, that's part of the problem. So see, understand this. You don't know if it's only a small a few of the guests. It could be half your guest. It could be 70% of your guests, because you're clearly not doing the proper due diligence and vetting these people, number one, on the information that they share on your platform. And then number two, after they leverage your platform and you give them that stamp of approval, you then don't follow up after that and let your audience know, hey, some new information has come out. Because see, I'm a trader and an investor by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I pride myself on is, as the facts change, my investment thesis has to change. If I'm right now bullish on a particular investment, and I know that investment's only going to do well in a low interest rate environment, and then the Federal Reserve comes and they pivot and they change monetary policy, I can't still sit there and keep applying the same investment thesis and strategy, because it will no longer work in a new market environment. If right now you bring a guest on and you know that that guest, based upon all of the information you have, is upright and upfront, okay, great. You know that at that moment they're a good guest. But 6 months later, if you find out that this person has a questionable background and they are engaging in questionable business practices, you have to know, because you took down the video. You took down Dana Chanel's video. You took down Big Business's video. You took down Jay Morrison's video. So now the question needs to be, why did you take down those videos? Because see, understand, King Jay, Scam Master Jay, where did he get his prominence from? Where did he get his claim to fame from? The Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, in the clip that I'm going to play, says, I knew that Jay Morrison was a fraud. I knew that Jay Morrison didn't own the real estate that he said he did, right? But what did the Breakfast Club do? They just took the video down. They allowed him to still walk amongst the community as a real estate mogul, as a real estate expert, knowing that this man was none of the above. That's where the problem comes into play. Now, if you're not going to make this type of content, if you're not going to call out the predators, then don't get mad when we do, because someone has to do it. There has to be balance in the conversation. You cannot simply have a highlight reel of, oh my God, you're going to run the funding play. You're going to invest in the crowd fund. You know, you're going to max out your credit. You're going to invest in, Cleveland, Ohio, and everything's going to be fine. And then don't talk about the trail of dead bodies. You can't have it both ways.
Right. All right, we got Tony back. Let's see what Tony got. You ready for me to share what's on the screen, Tony?
Yeah, you can go ahead and put it up.
All right, let me add it.
All right, so this came from the investor that DM'd me the original $1 million. So these are two $500,000. So the left side, you can see the bottom of the cashier's check for 500 grand, and on the right side, these are two separate checks. Just so you can pay attention, you can look at the if you look at the customer copy number, they're different dates. He sent them $500,000 on 7/22 of 21, and then he sent an additional 500,000 on 7/29 of 2021. I do have both contracts. Obviously, same thing that like we'll see with Amy's. It was all put together with the same type of promissory. Be able to get 20% on their money. I mean, obviously, this is a guy that is investing $1 million, so he's expecting to be able to make 200 grand very, very, very quickly. And to him, this is a no-brainer investment. And when the crazy part about this situation is that, you know, DJ Envy and Caesar were very vocal. Well, excuse me, DJ Envy was very vocal as he began to make his whole real estate propaganda run on Breakfast Club.
Right.
He had big issue with all the seminars and how they were charging people anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, and people weren't learning anything. So he was like, I'm gonna create my own real estate seminars, and I'm gonna do my real estate seminars, and you know, we're gonna do everything for free.
Right. And
we're not gonna charge people anything after the fact. The interesting piece is everybody that has now been on that stage with him has made money, if not maybe millions of dollars, by their programs that they sold. So the Credit Dude, who is also one of the investors who became a victim. So Credit Dude was one of his speakers on stage. So when they went around on tour, they had several people that were basically speakers that would tour with them. And the Credit Dude was one of the guys that was actually one of their main people that they toured with. And he came out on one of my lives about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, mentioning that he had also been scammed by Caesar. So this is what kind of started pulling the cat back even before the $1 million guy unveiled himself. The credit dude came out and he's like, hey man, there's another real estate investor that got me for 6 figures, but we're not going to name him yet. And at the time, I kind of knew who he hung out with. So I was like, is he black? Is he white? Or is he Hispanic? And when he said he was Hispanic, you know, I kind of was like, oh shit. But I wanted to make sure before I reacted, I got all the information, because obviously it's such a significant name attached to Caesar, that you just want to make sure you're not saying anything that would be defamatory, because obviously like it's going to come down. So when this new person came out with the $1 million claim, as I put that post up about him, you know, losing $1 million, DJ Envy slides directly in my DM, fast as shit.
Boom. All right, hold on. Let's pause right there. Explain to me real quick before we get too far down the road. From your perspective, you're in real estate, you've done seminars and stuff like that. How is it even profitable for DJ Envy and Caesar to host free seminars where they're not following up after and charging anybody? Like, is it like a nonprofit? Did they start up like a nonprofit organization?
Just to correct you, the seminar wasn't free. Just they were saying that there weren't going to be any upsells. So they charge like $97 or $100 to get to the seminar. So the seminar is pretty affordable. I don't think it was any more than like $120. But information was very basic. You're talking about shit YouTube, very YouTube information, very low level. But they were packing out houses. I mean, shit. I went to the one at the Jacob Javits Center. Absolutely unbelievable. And I keep seeing some of these comments, and it's very interesting. Like I seen this guy Lamar. I think when people hear a person that sells a course, they think everybody that sells a course is a scam, and that's absolutely false. And that's the issue that's happening in the community right now, is because the people that are predatory and doing all the bad business, you guys are very misinformed with what a course is. Like, and what, like, a course isn't a scam. The person that's selling something that's not, where you can't actually get proof of concept and then do what you actually were trying to learn, that's a scam. I deliver my products. You know, I got 55,000 students. Not a scam, nowhere even close to it. So try somebody else. But a scam is like what's happening right here, where people are having the assumption of, hey, I'm doing business with somebody that's actually going to execute on the said terms. Like, hey, I'm giving you $1 million. I'm investing $1 million into a real estate transaction with you, and you're telling me I'm getting a 20% return. Right now, just so you guys know, from I guess the first 48 plus hours, I'm well over $12+ million in DMs from people who have said the exact same story. And it's like their minimum investment was like almost $100,000. I think they took a couple that were like 75,000, but their minimum was like 100. So people were like, this isn't like little change. These people were investing significant amounts of money. And the interesting piece is, which is going to be very, very telling, is there was a lot of street guys that invested. You know, obviously, if you went to these events, you saw how everybody dressed. Like all these guys are Hispanic guys. They're in Jordans, black hoodies, and fucking jeans. Like this isn't like your typical real estate seminar where you're looking to see people kind of more like clean, and this is it looks like a street affair. It's a, you know, other than some of the other speakers, the main, if you've seen their main crew, which was Envy, Caesar, you see people in jeans, t-shirts, and Jordans. That's their look. So they're obviously attracting a lot of guys who are trying to find ways to clean money. And I've had conversations with some of these guys, and they are they're operating with a different level of how they're going to get their money back. So you know, this is going to be very, very interesting, just because from the way it's going down is there's already investigations taking place. There's already class action, I believe, even involved in this, because from what I had a conversation with privately with DJ Emily, he shared many things that he tried to manipulate online, because our conversation online and offline were completely different. And he's trying to disassociate himself from Caesar at this point, because obviously the microscope is on at this point. So it's really crazy. I think one of the most telling things is that nobody's story is different. So, you know, it's not like, oh, it's just 1 or 2 people that are upset customers. This is literally $13+ million or $12+ million at this point in receipts, contracts. I would never say this stuff without proof, you know, like this is real. These are real victims. These are people who trust it and not only Caesar, but DJ Envy. And it's important that we address that because many people said, hey, Tony, you're trying to group DJ Envy into his business partner's issues. And that's not the case. See, all of these people only made that decision to invest because DJ Envy was actually present. A lot of times when like the $1 million transaction happened, DJ Envy shook the guy's hand before he came, as he entered the office. So obviously that's a huge point of influence to have him there as you go into a deal. So, hey, and another person even mentioned, hey, he sent me a picture of 50 Cent. Right. So if you look at what's happening, and they're using celebrity likeness to close deals of 6-figure and 7-figure deals. So it's not this guy, the way he dressed and the way he looked, he's typically not going to be able to get people to be able to invest that type of money. But when you now add, oh, I seen you with Snoop Dogg, I seen you with 50 Cent. DJ Envy is the ultimate cosign. He's on Breakfast Club, and this is his right-hand man. You guys share the same business office. This is a safe transaction to most people coming into that building, right? They're just thinking this is a no-brainer. They see all the success, they see all the luxury, they see all the things that would make it be deemed as relevant and legit. But the problem is now once that money got passed over, everything changed. And one of the things I just want to talk about, because a lot of people don't think about it from having a brand perspective, right? Many people don't have a brand or big likeness, so they don't know how this shit works. If I have a big brand and I put somebody up underneath me, I'm going to get a cut. If I'm going to promote you, if I'm going to promote you and build you up, and I'm gonna go on tour with you. If me and Pocket Watching and Eli go on tour, there's going to be some type of compensation that we all break down. Like it's not like one person gets paid and the other one gets left out. If we are doing business, we're doing business. Now, keep in mind, if you are now meeting mentees from these live events that you're doing, right?
Right.
Is that now you say, oh, I don't want none of that money anymore?
Right.
Oh, no. I don't want the millions that are coming from the back end. I'll just take my money up front.
Right. That is less. And all the other money coming from the people coming to the events wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the celebrity factor of it. No one's going to the CESAR real estate seminar if it's just CESAR by himself. For
100%.
Yeah. All right. So, Tony, real quick, I've got queued up the live that you did with Envy. You want to talk us through this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let me bring it up real quick and we can go over it because it's very interesting. The conversation.
Before you play that, I would definitely want you to get this one video because maybe you can even pull it off my IG. It's the video where he's actually going up the escalator with Caesar.
Yes, I got that one. I got that
video
one.
ready to go. I have it.
Okay,
ready to go.
Pull it up, Eli.
I think that video, we need to hear that video first for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is a great example.
Share. And we're going to go here, and I believe it's the first one right there. Yep.
All right, perfect. It's coming up now. So this is Eli. I mean, this is DJ Envy and Caesar, right?
Join us July 31st right here at the Jacob Javits Center. We're doing a real estate seminar talking everything real estate from Airbnb to wholesaling to flipping. Not only that, you can partner with us on some deals. Make some money with us, your partner. And we'll see you July 31st. Come on.
All right, let's stop it right there because that's interesting. That part right there. Yeah, they talked about the actual event, but then he said you can partner with us and make money with us. What does that mean, Tony and Eli? I mean, partner with us. What does that mean?
See, that's the moment he realized he fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment that's going to be used against him in the court of law. That very clip right there will be replayed and it will haunt him forever and ever as he says, partner with us. because he's using his influence to make people invest in real estate deals with them. So if you don't have any real estate experience, hey, you can partner with us. Give me your money and we will do it for you. And once again, if you look at just in that video, Cesar's body, his body language, everything about him, nobody would trust that dude. Nobody would invest with him without having DJ Envy doing all the talking. As a matter of fact, in that actual video, Cesar says less than 5 words. DJ Envy understood what was going on. DJ Envy knew when the smoke been hit. See, when I got on the phone with him, and it's important to give you context before we get into the actual live, because I think a lot of times the live can be very misleading because I let him talk and I let him spew bullshit for a minute. Like, because I didn't want to be disrespectful to him, because obviously he was coming and he was sharing. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to get his piece off before I started pressing and asking the tough questions. So the previous night, he calls me after the $1 million story comes out. As the story breaks, he's obviously like, damn, bro, you had my number. You could have called me. I was like, actually, I don't have your number. Like, I don't know why you would even say that. Like, he's like, bro, you got my number. You could have called me. I was like, no, I don't have your number, but here's my number. And he called me. And at the time, we have this conversation. And in the conversation, he immediately comes in and he's been very, very transparent. He goes into many, many details, but some of the more important details is he really tried to distance his relationship with Cesar when it comes to what's been going on. And he goes, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get very ugly because there's lots and lots of people who are now complaining, and I don't know what the fuck to do. He said, I told Cesar not to take any money. From the beginning, I told Cesar not to take any money. And he's saying this shit over and over again. As if he knows that he's either on a hotline or something, but he's repeating, like insisting, like, since we started doing real estate seminars, by no means have I ever told him to do any of that. I have not, wanted to invest any money, take anybody's money, nothing. And he said, but now there's a lot of people. Exactly.
Right. The video don't say that. The video say make money with us.
Make money with us. But on this call with me, he's now trying to actually distance this shit out. He's like, listen, man. He said, I've already had attorneys and people reach out to me. He said, this thing is going to get ugly. And I don't know what the hell Cesar's doing, but I'm trying to call him right now. As a matter of fact, the nigga owes me $500,000. And if the nigga owes me $500,000 and I could get on the radio and blast him any day, then he's saying, fuck those people. This is his exact words.
And I want to interrupt you right there, Tony, because this is very, very important here. This is not the first time that DJ Envy has known about someone doing bad business. Like I said, this goes back to the Jay interview. This is not the first time. So he wants you now to take his word for it that he didn't know anything. But 8 years ago, he knew that Jay came on the platform. And I have the clip up here queued up to play it in a second, where he asks, what do you do when someone comes on your platform? And then you find out the things that they said are not true. So for 8 years now, he's allowed Jay to perpetrate in the community as a real estate guru and mogul. And he's never said anything but taking a video down. He even said that Jay used some of Cesar's properties, allegedly, to pretend to be the real estate mogul and guru. Now, he also said on a phone conversation that anytime he sees big business on a stage, he won't go on that stage. So now there's two real estate fake gurus that he's known about, that he has not said anything to the public about. So now he wants us to believe the third real estate guru that's out here defrauding people. This one, he doesn't know about either. At a certain point, we have to just realize this man is lying straight up.
You got the video ready?
Hold on, before we do the video, I think that final piece that we got to talk about is his knowledge that the deals with Cesar had already been being bad, and the lack of awareness that he brought to the public. See, it's one thing to say, hey man, okay, I'm finding out that, like, for example, a couple years ago, I had Dana Chanel come and speak at my event, right? I find out that there was a whole lot of allegations that were alleged against Dana Chanel, and Dana didn't scam me. She never took $1 from me. She came to my event. She spoke at my event. That was the only thing that happened. But guess what I did? I publicly distanced myself and let it be known, based off the shit that I knew about her at the time, I couldn't align with her. Now, DJ Envy's got a huge platform and a huge responsibility.
Right.
And he's been knowing that there's been attorneys that's been reaching out. There's been people that have been reaching out to him for months at this point, over years sometimes, for some of them, with these complaints. And yet he never brought it to anybody's attention. So I say, hey, either you're complicit or you're a part of it. So there's no way that you, and I asked him this on the call. I said, hey, so when do you think you're supposed to make people aware of what's going down? He's like, well, I'm gonna give him till Monday to make this right, and then I'll say something on Tuesday. But I'm like, bro, you didn't just find out about this yesterday. This isn't right. Like, bro, there's actual open lawsuits and things that are taking place. So this isn't something that you have found out just now. Like, it's already been ongoing. So it's just the continuously distancing himself from accountability, continuously trying to distance himself from even Caesar. And then more importantly, what I think that a lot of people got to pay attention to is, if you ever seen somebody that is like an athlete and he's got his homeboy with him, if they get pulled over and there's a gun in the car, who you think gonna take the gun charge? The person that got the big career, or the person that actually is going, got nothing to lose? See, now at this point, and Caesar came out and made a statement saying, hey, all of it is on me. Don't blame DJ Envy. Literally, he's like, hey, I take all responsibility. Because you got to understand something. DJ Envy is the big dog. He's the big dog. You can't take down all the big dog with this shit. So now it's the level of separation. So I just want to make sure, like, for context, I know you're about to play the video, people just understand like what's happening now, because Envy actually is very, like, I told him he turned into Councilman Tate on his live off power. He literally turned into Councilman Tate. You have one conversation, he's on the phone with me telling me that this dude is taking all his money and all this stuff is going bad, and there's investigations and attorneys. And then I get on the live with him, he's like, I don't know if he owes anybody money. You got to ask that man, and you got to, like, everything is like this real,
got real political.
He owes him money. He actually owes him money.
Right. All right. I'm gonna pull this up real quick, that Eli, and I want to make a point because you'll see it on the screen here. Not only is DJ Envy talking about the way that he deals with controversy, just take the video down. Look who he's interviewing.
Right? Right. The irony, right? The fate and irony that we're looking at right here. That is Rashard, and that is Troy. And they are talking to DJ Envy. So let me play the clip and then add some context. Hold on. Put the volume on.
Realize that we're getting some of these guests. How do you realize, or how do you figure out who's telling the truth and who's not? Because I know we've both been in the industry before where people say they do something, then you look in the history like, you ain't really do nothing. So how do you, we actually had somebody on the show before that was, I didn't bring him up here. Charlamagne didn't bring him up here. 1051 is the Breakfast Club. Good morning. We have a special guest and somebody that's going to teach us about buying and owning homes.
That's right. Envy, you know all about this.
Yes.
Right? I heard. My friend Jay Morrison is here. He's also my
Jay.
Jay.
You might as well say the person's name.
Nah,
you gonna do that? You gonna do
that? But they didn't know what they were talking about. Had no clue, no idea. They even called my partner and asked him to borrow some of his homes to act like they his. But that's another situation.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody else. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
so what he's saying here is that they're alleging that King Jay came up on their platform, didn't know what he was talking about when it comes to real estate, was even using some of Caesar's properties to pretend like he knew about real estate. Mind you, that interview that Jay did was over 8 years ago. So for 8 years now, DJ Envy sat around watching this man start a crowdfund and taking millions of black dollars under the guise pretending to be a real estate expert, pretending to be a real estate mogul. So what I say before, what I said before, and I'll say it again, these men love to use the culture. They're here to elevate the culture. They're here to elevate black men and black women, to build generational wealth. They're teaching you to do it for the culture. And what we're starting to see is doing it for the culture is just a marketing gimmick and tactic.
Right.
Because now when those same people who watch your podcasts, who listen to your podcasts, who attend your events, who make you the biggest, those same people now are being defrauded by people who are leveraging your platform. And obviously you have to know because you've taken down the videos and you have not a word to say, not a tweet, not even a tweet to say, hey, I'm distancing myself from someone. I don't care how it sounds. You can say I'm hating. You can say I'm clout chasing. That is wrong because these people are leveraging your celebrity. When you read the actual court documents, the lady from Amy Flips, LLC states that Cesar kept referencing his relationships and previous business dealings that were successful with celebrities. They're leveraging celebrities to be able to get you in the door to trust them. What happens when you go to all these events? What do they have? Floyd Mayweather, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, P. Diddy, Steve Harvey. They're leveraging celebrities to get your attention. And see, this is part of the problem here. What's going on is because they're getting you in, and then after that, no one's responsible. Because if these people are DMing Tony with receipts, with wires, with court judgments and settlements, I'm pretty sure these larger platforms are getting the same thing. So now you're only for the culture when it comes to selling tickets and courses.
Right.
You're not for the culture when it comes to doing what's right. And if I get it, this may be bad for business because I love when people say I'm clout chasing. So it's not clout chasing to use celebrities to go viral. It's not clout chasing to use celebrities to sell event tickets. It's only clout chasing when I say something that you don't agree with. See, if you're not going to cover this type of stuff, then don't shun the other people who are willing to cover it. Because see, I don't make money from this. I lose money. Because think about all of the relationships that I'm not going to ever be able to exercise and use now going forward. Because I've spoken about things like this. You think that EYL is ever going to have me as a guest? You think
we're not going on that.
I'm not going on any of these platforms and anyone that's associated with this. So this idea that somehow we benefit from this is just not true.
Right. And and to be real, I know a personal story that happened to me, and I'm sure it happened to you and it happened to Tony. There's people who will try to come in and broker deals, right? There's people who literally have called my office and tried to broker a deal to, make a relationship where we just forget about all of this stuff and stop reacting to this stuff. And maybe I can get on their platform and I can be their guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm sure y'all got it because my platform was much smaller than y'all's. And people have come to me offering me deals that I can now, stop reacting to these guys and maybe even do. I mean, literally, Troy and Rashad said they might invite me on EYL as long as it's something positive. If we start talking about positive stuff, I can get on their platform. That's literally what they told me.
CNBC, they cover finance, and they also have a show called American Greed. It's called Balance. Just like they give you stocks and they talk about real estate and they talk about finance, they also have a show on there called American Greed that highlights scammers and schemers. You have to have balance with the conversation. It cannot just be all positivity. And this is exactly why so many people are being scammed, because we're making entrepreneurship seem like it's the latest hustle, and it's not. Entrepreneurship requires work and diligence and patience.
I got the live with you, right? Here.
Yeah, you sound like you're breaking up a little bit.
I hear you clearly, Tony. JT just went out.
Yeah.
That might be on me. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play the live between you and DJ Envy, and you can cue me up and let me know when you want to break something down, okay?
All right.
So, man, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming in, man. mad respect for you taking the time to come and really address some very serious allegations head on. Obviously, you got a huge platform, man.
I came to talk about my car show this weekend in Memphis, man.
I'll let you talk some car show. We can bring up the car show, but you know what you ask, what you want to ask. Ask what you want to ask. Ask what you want to ask, man. We good. But tell us about the car show. Let's talk about the car show, man. Memphis.
I'm just messing with you.
Come on, let's give you the car show.
The car show tickets are selling. We ain't got to worry about that. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. Well, first I want to say, you know, I seen the live that you did, and I thought it was whack. First of all, and I'm gonna tell you why I thought it was whack. And you can ask me whatever you want.
All right, let's go.
And the reason I thought it was whack is because you know me. You've been to my seminars. You spoke on a seminar.
You can pause it right here. You can pause it 1 second.
All right.
He said, "I know him." I don't know you, bro. I've never met him. Like, it's interesting. Like he reposted a couple of times when Jay Morrison and I were in the middle of the whole online beef, but I've never actually met this dude or nothing. So like, I actually went to one of his events, but you know, I just saw him in passing. Never like, hey, we sat down, broke bread, never went to lunch, never, you know, no conversation piece. So I think it just, even at the beginning, he's already starting to like try to like position himself like I'm clout chasing off. I just want, so for context purposes.
No. I agree 100% because Troy and Rashad tried to pull the same BS with me. They said, you know, according to the video that I did about him 500 in the bank fraud piece, Rashad said, bro, you could have DM'd me before you made that video. Negro, I told him, Negro, we didn't go to middle school together. What do you mean I could have DM'd you? He has like 1 million subscribers, right? I've got like less than 1,000 on IG. I could have DM'd him like he would have answered the DM in the first place. Second, I don't owe him any DM. If you make a public presentation on something, I have 100% right to make a public critique of it. But yeah, it's funny how they try to play the same, you could have reached out to me first. What is the Breakfast Club? Just for a second. The Breakfast Club, all the time, they react to stories about celebrities without the celebrity being there to defend themselves. That's what they do all the time on the Breakfast Club. The problem is when it happens to them. When it happens to them, they want you to reach out. They don't reach out to anybody.
And notice they didn't DM Grant Cardone when Grant Cardone made the comments about he wants to be able to target black males and urban youth with sling. Everyone had energy for Grant Cardone. Everyone had responses, 19 keys, right? The Troy and Rashad, everyone, because see, it's popular when you go against a white guy. But now here you have black men like Big Business and now allegedly Caesar preying on the community, and no one has nothing to say. Everyone's quiet. See, it goes to show you that there's selective outrage, and they pick and choose when it's okay to clout chase and when it's not okay to clout chase. I don't mind being a guy that's clout chasing for people who are getting wronged and victimized, because out of this, the culture is going to learn. Out of this, we're going to get real financial literacy, and people are going to understand how to properly vet someone before you do business with them to make sure that they have the net worth that they say they do. In the event that things go wrong, there's assets that you can seize, making sure that they have the proper insurances in place, because that's one of the key things here too with business. You have to make sure that a person has enough liquidity in the event that something goes wrong, that you can at least seize something. See, with Bernie Madoff, people were able to claw back a lot of that money because he actually had assets to go after. Most of these men and women, which you'll learn, like King Jay, they actually are bankrupt and broke. So therefore, you should not be giving your money to a person that is on the verge of bankruptcy or filing it, because in the event that they mess up, you can't get anything back.
Nothing to liquidate, nothing whatsoever. But yeah, that's a great point, Tony. The point towards the, you could have reached out to me, as if they reach out to people before they react on their various podcasts and radio shows. It's hypocritical.
Exactly. You've been to a seminar or two, and you know that we did those seminars to teach people how to do real estate and to encourage people how to do real estate. So the fact that you said it was trash was kind of weak, especially when you know my number. We just spoke many times. But you know, I get what you're doing. But I like I told you earlier on the phone, because we spoke a couple of times. I said, you know, me and you, we alike in certain ways because we like to expose the fake shit. And that's one thing I say. I don't like
now listen, look, I gotta pause right there because I watched this before. When has DJ Envy exposed any fake shit, as he puts it? I'm unaware. Maybe it's because I don't watch the show every day or whatever, but I'm unaware of DJ Envy having some kind of reputation of exposing the fake stuff.
No, so I think what he's referring to is when he first started positioning himself to be able to promote his real estate seminars, he dissed all the seminar makers. So he came at fortune builders. He came at all the other gurus and said, hey, you guys are charging $2,000 and people aren't learning anything. So I'm gonna charge $100 or $200, and it's like $120, and then I'm just gonna scam you on the back end. Like he did it a little bit differently. Like, but he let Caesar get all the money, right? He just let Caesar and his guys just go in the back end and just have a free for all with all the people.
Okay, because I did that part confused.
We'll take advantage of our people. But go ahead, wait, let's go.
No, man. First off, man, I've never been at one of your events as a speaking capacity, but I came to the big event that you had at the Javits, which I said on the live. I said, yo, first off, you packed that bitch out. I came in and my initial impression was very impressed. I said, I've never seen people bring people together for that scale for financial literacy. I thought it was one of the most amazing things I saw from a wide-eyed lens, right? To have our people, Hispanics, Black, you know, all in the room getting education. I'm like, yo, that's dope as fuck. I mean, I'll be transparent. Coming into
trash yesterday.
Now hold on, let me finish. Now I'm gonna finish. Coming into I was expecting to get some information and some knowledge, and I felt like it was a lot left to be had when it came to the information piece. It wasn't filled with game that I expected to get from the. It was more like, hey, here's who I go where I find my websites at. Here's where I go to get hard money lenders. But it wasn't real estate knowledge. And here's
no
my
real estate knowledge.
A lot of these situations is that very big platforms like yourself, man, like so many people respect your platform. You are a celebrity. You got millions of people that listen to you on a daily basis. You got a partner of yours who is accused of some very serious allegations. Millions of dollars have been.
And just for the record, I wanted to make sure, because I told him his event was trash, right? He heard me say it on the live. I was like, man, the event was trash. And it's very important to like understand the dynamic of what they were doing. They were giving each speaker 15 minutes to speak. Now I want you to tell me, what can you possibly learn in 15 minutes? Most of these speakers, by the time they say their intro and their outro and their social media handle, have less than 8 minutes left to do a presentation. It was trash.
A sales pitch. That's 15 minutes is a sales pitch. You can't do a real presentation of giving someone knowledge on a particular subject. At best, you can introduce yourself and present a sales pitch to get more info by coming to our website.
The only people who had real speaking time were the people that don't talk much as far as like actual education, which was DJ Envy, Caesar, and Jen. And when I tell you it was the most boring and dumb shit that I listened to, I couldn't believe. I was just like, for me personally, I said, I'm glad it didn't cost a lot of money. So here's the reason why they wouldn't get a lot of pushback, because people were like, hey, I'm coming in, the room's packed out. They're getting like some like okay type information. So you're not going to get a lot of people that really talk bad about it, because they're going to get like this overall huge venue, thousands of people networking.
Right. But and it only costs about $100-something bucks.
It's $100-something. So like, you're not coming in expecting to be able to get blown away with information. You're going to, like, people probably like, okay, that's probably much as I thought I would get in the first place.
Got it. All right.
Alleged to be scammed at this point, right? I want to ask you first and foremost, when we start looking at these events, which starts becoming a marketing funnel, right? People start now coming into mentorships. They come to these events to be able to get game. But then most of these events, there's that same thing that you talked about that you don't like, the upsell. See, because I pay attention, right? You had a major problem with people who had live events and then they didn't teach much information, and then they do these upsells for higher mentorships, et cetera, investment opportunities. Well, it seems as if that's what's now happened with you and Caesar, because now you're hearing the same exact thing that you said that you didn't like, which was these very outlandish prices as far as mentorships and plus $1 million plus people saying they've been defrauded out of money. So I'm looking at you and I'm saying, hey, you got a large platform. How are you any different than with the people that you said you didn't like, the other people that were frauds?
Well, for anybody that hasn't been to my seminars, the reason we created these seminars was because we wanted to teach people about real estate and get them into real estate without spending $10,000 like a lot of these seminars were doing. My whole idea was, if you have $10,000, I'd rather you use that $10,000 and try to put it into a house, a property, or whatever it is. So, my real estate thing, you say you didn't learn. I mean, hey, that's you. But the seminar, what we did was we brought people to the seminar that they would need. I brought auction.com, which is a site where people go to get properties from, and it taught them how to go on that property to buy properties. They didn't have to pay for that. I brought a map.
Pause real quick, JT. Notice what he just said. I brought auction.com.
Right. Right.
Affiliate marketing.
It's laughable.
That's a sponsor that came and told people how to use their website so they can actually make money. That's a paid sponsor that came in. So once again, when I told him that the event was trash, because anybody could tell you it's trash. You come in there, think about what he just led with. The first thing that he's going to educate with is auction.com. I just want you to think about this shit.
I don't know what Matt thing is. Matt the lender. And what Matt did, Matt helped people get loans. FHA talked about property without paying extra. We had hard money lenders there that told people about hard money lenders and how to get hard money lenders. We had a credit repair. That was a guy, people fix their credit. We had people who do wholesale, which I don't do wholesale. I can't explain wholesale, but we had somebody there to break down what wholesale was and how to get it done. Now, all those pieces of people explaining that.
Man did over how many events? How many real estate transactions have they done? I just want, like, they're alleging that they have thousands of properties. They're doing thousands of real estate transactions, yet you don't understand the wholesale transaction.
Because he's just the face. He's just the face to bring in the viewers and to bring in the traffic through the door at the end of the day. He's not the real estate expert that he claims to be either.
I
don't see where he's addressing the upsell. Yeah, I don't see where he's not explaining the upsell. I mean, because to me, the question that you were asking was, hey, you came into the industry talking about DJ Envy. You came into the real estate seminar industry basically saying you didn't like how much people were being charged and you didn't like the upsell. Now, this is him trying to answer that question, but what he's talking about is he invited a bunch of people to teach them about something, but it was really offering them their services. Like everyone who he's talking about, I'm sure in 15 minutes, whoever the credit guy was, didn't teach people how to fix their credit. They probably taught them how to get in contact with him to fix their credit. There's no way that they're learning these topics that he's talking about. They're learning the places where you can go to buy the services. Like there's no way. Okay, I mean, maybe he answers the question, but I don't see where he's answering the question as far as we don't do upsells at my conferences.
Niggas usually would have to pay money for that, but it was all free. There was never an upsell. There was no, well, to learn this information, you have to do this. There was never an upsell in any of my thing. The only thing that was ever sold was some t-shirts that said landlord, trap lord. And that's anybody that's been on any of my seminar. There was no upsell. We didn't upsell shit. There was not an upsell. There was nothing that you can buy then at any of my seminars. So the upsell thing, well, there was no upsell. So there was nothing that you can buy.
So, all right, Tony, explain this to me because, you know, I don't go to real estate seminars and whatnot. So when he says that there was no upsell, there was no what you can buy something there, I think he's trying to parse words a little bit, because once again, there's no way a man can stand in front of you for 15 minutes, and if you have a horrible credit score, you walk away with enough knowledge to get a better credit score. I think that the person was on the stage for 15 minutes talking about what you can do with a better credit score, and then contact me later to get your credit score fixed. That is an upsell, right?
1000%.
All right. Okay. All right.
Now, has anybody ever gave me $1, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, $100, $1,000, $100,000, or $500,000, or $1 million? Not one person. Because I'm making my business not to take money from nobody. And there's nobody on this live, and there's nobody in here that could ever say Envy, they gave Envy $1. I done helped everybody get homes. I done helped over 1,000 people get into homes. And that's celebrities, from Terrence J to Sean King, to 3 different people get houses. To regular people get into a house.
Hold on, time out. Once again, what does that mean, Tony? Because I'm confused. How does DJ Envy help celebrities that are supposed to be worth millions of dollars? How does he help them get them? Like, I believe Terrence J has enough money to buy real estate. What is DJ Envy doing to help him?
You see my face?
Well, I mean, what is he? I'm confused now. If it's an everyday person,
even my face right now is the same as on the live. Look at it. Just look at it. Like, come on, bro.
It's purely a funnel, and it's a marketing game. You're getting thousands of people in the door at a very, very low price. And then therefore, what you're going to do is you're going to give them your website, and a certain percentage of them are going to convert into sales. And then, like most predators, you sit there, you ask them, how much money do you got? You don't start with, this is how much the investment is. You get them in a private, intimate setting. And then you say, hey, if you want this exclusive coaching, if you want these exclusive deals I have, then give me $50,000. So to sit up here and pretend that you don't know how the business actually goes, just it's so like, it's such an insult to our intelligence to even play like this in our face. Because at the end of the day, especially when you get to the court documents, it's not like these things came up just last week. We're talking about going back to August of 2022, when me and Tony was at the Bitcoin conference. Me and Tony's at the Bitcoin conference, and we met Cesar at the Bitcoin conference, and they're trying to pitch something called Flip to DAO. So they're trying to start a new project in the crypto space, while the projects that they're already working on are starting to go sour. And see, this is why I always talk about this. Be very leery of a person that you constantly see jumping from trend to trend to trend. Because if you are a real estate guy, why are you trying to start a decentralized autonomous organization? See, it shows that they're scattered. They're reaching for whatever is trending at the moment. And then Tony even said to me when we was at the conference, yo, I don't know, it's something about this dude that just doesn't seem right. Because they were trying to get Tony to pitch something. Now, up here on the screen,
they actually tried to get me to promote the Flip to DAO. They offered me, I have the contract and everything. He offered me like a 30% commission, and I was like, I'm not about to funnel this bullshit to my people, man. Like, what? Like, get out of here.
All right. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I want to say this real quick, man. Hold on 1 second.
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I know I get a lot of people that love to mention me and say shit like scam. But if you know the opportunities I had to take advantage of you and sell crypto coins and to sell you bullshit that people bring me every single year, that I could have made millions of dollars and said, to hell with you guys, let me just benefit my own personal gain. I turned down so many opportunities. Eli sat right next to me as this nigga pitched me on this shit, and I said, absolutely not. I said, something doesn't sit right with me. I still have the contract to this day. I've been offered crypto coins to promote. There's not a single person that can say that I take anything. Like, there's not a student out here that's saying, hey, Tony stole money from me. He gave me $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. Absolutely not. If you buy my program, you get a course that has proven success stories. There's thousands of people that's winning with it. Does that mean that just because you buy it, that you're going to be successful? No. That gives you the access to the knowledge. It gives you access to the tools. Now, you have to actually go implement the things that are inside there. But that's a proven program that I've successfully done. The students have successfully done for years. I've been doing this since 2018. See, a lot of people start talking this stuff, but I have a track record that's been successful over years. JT's been following me long enough to know if I've been having some bullshit going on, I wouldn't be sitting on his live right now. I can guarantee
I'm gonna go on the record. Yeah, I'm gonna go on the record. As far as many people have gone into the comments of my videos and say, look at Tony, blah, 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 blah. And I've always replied with this. Send me the receipts. Send me the receipts. Send me something that shows that you gave Tony some money and he ran off, or that send me something. And not one person has ever sent me anything. So I don't understand. Now, Eli, I see you're sharing something because you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of crypto. So I'm gonna need you to explain to me what the hell is Flip the DAO.
So a DAO basically is a way of having an organization that is decentralized. So rather than one individual controlling and owning everything, multiple people can sharing it. So by owning the actual coin gives you ownership in the decentralized organization. There's absolutely no reason why you should be putting a real estate investment project into a DAO. This is a way
there's already structure for multiple people to own real estate. Why do you need to funnel it through crypto if there's been for thousands of years?
Hold on. Pause 1 second. Hold on, guys. Right there. Look at the screen. Who's on the screen?
But that's what I was going to show. That's what I was about to highlight. Look right here. Who do you see
who's
here?
On the screen?
DJ Envy.
Who's on?
One.
Oh man, come
2,
on, bro.
3. Now,
I ain't got nothing to do
about this for a
but he
second,
has
though. This is
nothing to
very,
do
very
with the
important.
business.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on. This is
There's
important.
There's more pictures of DJ Envy on the screen right now than Caesar.
But this is more important, though. Hold on, JT.
Caesar's too.
You got to highlight this. While they're launching this project, DJ Envy is aware that the previous projects are starting to fail. See, I want you to understand this. While they're launching the DAO, people are starting to come forward and say, hey, where's my money? Hey, where's my money? So while he's sitting up here allowing this man to use his face to promote this, he's already aware of the bad business deals that Caesar has engaged in. So this goes to show you that at what point do you owe it to your viewers and your audience to come out and say, hey, I'm taking a step back. I'm no longer standing with this guy. DJ Envy only publicly spoke because now it's out in the public, which goes to show you he can't sit up here and act like he didn't know when he's on all of the pictures, knowing that the previous ventures have already failed.
All right. So once again, I'm thick-headed when it comes to crypto. What the hell is the advantage of Flip the DAO?
Let's read the advantage. It says, as a member of the Flip to DAO community, you will be eligible to own a piece of our vetted real estate property that we purchased below the market value. These significant savings could be as high as 50%, which allows our investors to experience an immediate capital gain. If you have a real estate deal that has that much equity in it, why do you need outside investors? It makes no sense. If you can make 50% on a deal, why would you need outside money?
Why would you even need this? We already have a structure called a REIT, a real estate investment trust. If they wanted to get multiple people to help them invest their money and pool their money into owning real estate, why not do a REIT? My thought is, I can't guarantee this, but my thought is to start a REIT, you actually have to go through regulation. You have to go through the SEC. I'm not very big on crypto, but Eli, what are the regulations to start
None.
Flip the DAO?
None. But this is why he wanted to go with the DAO, so that they can crowdfund and fractionalize a property. So now let's say the property's worth 200,000. You basically can create tokens. So let's say that you have 200,000 tokens. Each token gives you a sort of quote unquote percentage of ownership. This is just a simple way of trying to lure more people in and be able to defraud them without having to basically abide by rules and regulations. And see, this is why crypto gets a bad name, because people like this say, okay, well, this scam's running out, so let me go over here and start an NFT. Let me go over here and start a DAO. It's just more ways and gimmicks to get people through the door. But like Tony said, when you look at this here, there's more pictures of DJ Envy than there are of Caesar. So at what point did you become aware and then you start distancing yourself? And why is just now, when it's public, now you're trying to distance yourself from Caesar? See, this goes to show you that he's just as liable. So when I hear people saying, oh, stop putting envy in it, stop putting envy in it, he's only distancing himself now because it's public.
Oh my God. All right, let's finish this interview, because there's a very important part in the live where DJ Envy starts making comparisons to business partnerships going bad and what's the responsibility, right? What's the responsibility of one business partner to another, or at least to investors or their audience, if one business partner finds out something bad was happening with another partner? And I think that's important because it gives an insight to a lot of these grifters' mindset as what they think their responsibilities are.
I was using FHA credit or regular loans, and he said, hey, let me give you something. I'm like, I don't need it, because I honestly did this to help my people, and there's not nobody else that can say that they did. Nobody. Now,
I'm sorry, I gotta pause it here because this is a pet peeve of mine. Anytime a Negro says that they're starting some sort of business operation to help the people, it doesn't make sense. You start a nonprofit organization to help the people. You start a for-profit enterprise to make money. That's what you do it for. So if he's doing it to help the people, then start up a 501c3 and get the proper tax deductions off of it. You did it to make money, because otherwise you would just do a nonprofit. Now, if you happen to help people while making money, that's a good deal. So just a red flag for all of you. What we got? 1,900 people watching. Whenever you hear Negroes talking about they started a business to help people, the people that they're talking about is themselves and their immediate family. Because otherwise, you start a nonprofit organization. Period.
Hey, many your business partner based off your relationship, right?
I'm glad that you said that. So now,
and I want to ask you a question, like, as a public figure, how do you feel your responsibility for your actions, and his actions, how does your professional view on all that play a part?
Okay,
how do you feel like, what do you feel like he your part is in this?
Great question.
I love that question. This is the thing. I have many different partners. I got partners that own water. I got partners when it comes to real estate. I got partners when it comes to clothing lines. I got partners when it comes to many different things. Many different things. So let me, you own a barbershop, right? The barbershop does well. On the side, you're a pedophile, and I don't know you're a pedophile. Are they gonna say DJ Envy's partner is a pedophile and I knew about it? No, nigga, I didn't know what you did on the side or what you was doing.
No, he's so disingenuous. You know that's what they do. And so, like, he's in the media. This is so BS. He's in the media.
He said invest with us. He said you can invest with us.
It's so disingenuous. Anytime a story comes out about someone, especially the example that he's talking about, pedophilia, right? Someone being a pedophile. They always look to the inner circle, right? When you talk about the Epstein case. Now, anybody who's ever took a picture with Epstein, they ask questions about what they know. Am I wrong, Eli?
You on the money.
Let's keep it real.
You on the money.
If you was on a flight with Jeffrey Epstein, if you was just on the flight with him, you visited his house, you was at a party with him, they run stories about you knew what was going on and you was partaking into it. So for him to give that particular example as just because we're partners, I should never be questioned about if I knew what he was doing is BS. How many stories have they done about Bill Cosby and all that? It's I'm sorry. It's just, it's disingenuous, Envy. Envy, if you're watching this or someone on your team is watching this, that was a horrible example for you to give. Work with your PR team. Never give that example again, because you know it's BS, because you, on your platform, The Breakfast Club, y'all engage in this type of speculation all the time, right? You want to know if R. Kelly's managers, R. Kelly's brother, R. Kelly's friend, that you want to know what they knew at the time. So stop it.
Not to say that even Caesar was doing anything right or wrong, because I honestly don't know. That's between them and whatever happened. But did I say, here, take this money and give it to this person, or do this with this money? I never did. And nobody's ever come to me. And anybody who's ever came, if you ever came to my seminar, I tell everybody on this stage, whether it's credit repair or it's a conventional lender, do your homework, because I don't trust anybody. And I said that. And I said, the reason I don't trust anybody is because, like anything in this world, somebody will treat me different because I'm a quote unquote celebrity than they'll treat somebody else. And if you've been to my seminars, I say that a million times, where people, the speakers get offended sometimes. But the reason I do that is because I don't trust people. I don't trust anybody. I don't. That's just me. Even with real estate, I'm not a person that just buys because I never seen. I need to touch the house. I need to feel it. I need to walk through it. I need to know things on my own. So if by now DJ Envy and a picture of me and Caesar saying that y'all did that, you know I didn't scam nobody for no money. You know I didn't scam. And like I said, the thing with me and you is where I go different is you know me. You say you didn't have my number. My number's the same. You got my number. You can call me anytime.
Well, I actually didn't have your number, Henry, but like
as soon as I heard, what did I do? I my number.
But let me ask you a question, because the guy last night, he said that he gave Caesar $1 million. When he said he came to the office, you were right there to greet him. He said he felt like you were part of the entire process as far as bringing him into the, him even deciding to make this investment. He's like, I would have made $1 million investment if I didn't have DJ Envy co-signing him and telling me that, yo, he's a good dude. And then I come to the office and he's in the exact same office as I'm walking in before we even come to an agreement on the deal. So you feel like you play a part in that when an investor feels like, hey, my investment decision is based off the fact that I'm watching you sit in the same office with this guy, right? This guy said he was on his deathbed. He got another lawsuit from a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from almost dying. He invests his money with Caesar, and he's been chasing his money.
Now you telling me because I'm in the same office with somebody doing my car show business, and somebody's in another office building, another office spot doing something else that I know what he's doing in that office space. And I greet everybody that comes in the office. You know why? Because that's what my mom taught me to do, because I'm a respectful, kind person. I don't care. I'm
sorry. He greets everybody who comes into the office because he's a respectful dude. Okay, I'm a halfway say okay. But I believe, once again, he's acting extremely naive when you know a lot of people who are walking through that door to talk to Caesar, there's a good chance that they never even heard of Caesar if it was not for you. And for you to greet them and shake their hand as they walk in to a potential business deal with your partner, to act as if that has no relationship, is disingenuous. Because
even more important, bro, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep this shit all the way 100. If there's a $1 million deal taking place in that damn office, oh man, they talking about that shit. Hey, bro, he just brought in a fucking $1 million.
I can play this out for you, Tony, because I've been a part of stuff like this. When you have $250,000 walking through the door, people straighten up. I've seen situations where they get together, they tighten up, because I walked a client into a bank with a $2 million check that he got from the NFL because of some injuries that he had or whatever, right? I think you know better than most people, Tony, the deal that the NFL was doing with players who got injured and whatnot. When I walked through that door with my client with that $2 million check, everyone knew not just his name, everyone knew my name. First time I walked in that building, everyone knew my name, shook my hand, acted as if we went to middle school together, like they were just so happy to see me. That's what happens because they know relationships matter. So I can believe, I don't know this for a fact, Caesar would have let everyone in the office know, listen, money's coming. It's almost like strippers when a rapper comes to the strip club. The red light comes on. Hey, money's coming through the door. Act accordingly.
Right. Players Club. When the red light pop off, man, hey, it's money here. Dollar bills here. Get y'all ass to the stage. There's some money in here.
It happens in strip clubs and it happens at banks and investment firms. When money comes through the door, I bet you everyone knows, from the secretary who greets you at reception to everybody. They want everyone to be on their best behavior. So I would personally believe, listen, if I'm Caesar, I'm telling Envy, listen, the guy I got coming is $1 million on the table. Do me a favor, greet him at the door, give him that Envy charm, make it easy for him. So for Envy to say he didn't know seems odd to me. That would be bad business on both of their parts if they didn't know $1 million was walking through the door. So once again, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. When money walks through the door, people know. There's no way you let $1 million walk through the door and not let everyone in that office aware, so that you can present the best possible image to a person who potentially can hand over $1 million to you. I just don't see it. I don't. Now, Envy, if you're watching this, let me know, but it doesn't make sense to me. I'm a certified financial planner. It doesn't make sense for me that your business partner wouldn't let you know that $1 million is walking through the door. Makes no sense.
If you're young, if you're old, if you're white, if you walk into my office, I look everybody in the eye and I say, hello. And the reason why I do that is because 9 times out of 10, I got a couple $100,000 car outside and I want to see who's coming in and out my office. Now, if you go into another office and have a conversation with somebody and you decide to do whatever you want to do, that has nothing to do with envy. If Envy said, do this because I said it's cool, that's a different story. If you see Envy's name on the contract, that's a different story. But now it seems like you're fishing for things to put me involved. Just because I'm in an office with somebody else doesn't mean that me and that person are doing anything with each other.
Well,
doesn't mean I'm co-signing anybody. Doesn't mean that at all. And now that person,
we look at you and Caesar from a perspective that you guys are business partners. So like every time I've ever seen anything with real estate, like
no, we all business.
When I see events, anytime I see Caesar never speaks. I only hear you speak. So
no,
anytime
definitely speaks.
Every time we see an ad, I see he's looking over like this, and you are actually doing a presentation. So he's not like the person that's the spokesperson. So I'm just like, just being real. When we look at it, like this man wouldn't have, nobody would fuck with Caesar if it wasn't for DJ Envy. Like I wouldn't know who he was if it wasn't for you. Like most of these people wouldn't, when you say I'm attaching you, it's because you marketed them. Everywhere we see Flippin' NJ, there's DJ Envy. So if I'm just looking at it and I'm saying that this is a guy that I'm investing with, I'm investing based off your likeness.
Well, see, this is the thing. I'm not anybody's babysitter. I don't tell people what to do and what not to do. Now, Caesar's a guy that got me into real estate, and he got me into real estate where I purchased a lot of homes. And because of that, he made me a lot of money where I own these houses and I have tenants. And I was excited about it. And I was excited about it because not too many people that look like me are buying property. So I told Caesar, let's teach people how to do it. Now, we taught a lot of people how to do it. We taught a lot of people how to buy homes. We taught a lot of people about FHA and things that people had no idea about. Now, that's my business with Caesar. That's my business with a lot of people. Now, if you go outside of that and want to jump in on your own, that has nothing to do with the kid. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not part of those deals. I'm not part of anything that goes on. I could be a partner with Elon Musk, and me and Elon Musk do Teslas together. Now, if Elon Musk decides he wants to do his property, and he does some foul shit on the property, people, well, Lionel Envy was part of the Tesla. That ain't got to stop being.
That's a false equivalence. That is such a false equivalence. You are not shaking hands with the person who walks through the door to do the space project. It's totally different. Once again, he's mentioning Elon Musk as if no one would know Elon if it wasn't for DJ Envy. It's a false equivalence. You can't make that analogy of saying you doing a deal with Elon Musk, you're not responsible for one business if you're doing business A with him and someone wants to do business B. Elon Musk
And do you
is
see
a
how
man who
deceptive
is
that is
on
and
his
just
own.
disingenuous it is, though, to
Yeah.
sit up here and make it seem like no one would know who Caesar was without DJ Envy. And that's the exact reason why on most of the advertisement, like on Flip the Dial, there's more pictures of Envy than Caesar, which is why in the video he says, invest with us, because he understands you are the face and you have the platform. And see, this is what pisses me off with these podcasts, with these YouTube channels, is they love to sit up here and play the damsel in distress. How would I know? We have so many guests on our platform. I can't vet everyone. Listen to me. You knew, and see, Tony's going to clarify this and go a little bit deeper, because prior to the live, him and Tony already had a conversation. Right. And in the conversation, you made it clear that not only did you know he was doing bad business, but that he owes you $500 million. So now at what point did the business go sour? And at what point did you feel the obligation with the same energy you promoted him to use that same energy to remove yourself and distance from him? See, that's part of the problem, because you didn't just find out about the bad business dealings last week. You've known about this now for close to over a year. So when did you think it would be right to let the public know? Because what the schemers and scammers will do, they will still use the actual images, the videos, the marketing material that y'all have done together to still go out. Like Big Business right now today is going live, like sitting in homes that have the studs in his gut, like as if he's doing renovation work while he owes people millions of dollars for not doing the renovation. Like at a certain point, listen, you cannot piss on me and tell me that it's rain. I'm not dumb. You're not talking to someone that is stupid here. Okay, you are
still to this day. Jay Morrison still has up on his channel the interview with the Breakfast Club. Scam Master Jay still has up on his channel interviews and interactions that he had with EYL. Why don't, since they took the video down on their platform, why don't they hit him with a copyright strike? Why don't they, if they really care, if they're really trying to distance themselves, why don't they hit them with the copyright strike and say, no, I own that content. Please stop associating yourself with me.
And didn't he say, though, that he got in this for the people? Didn't DJ Envy say that he got into the whole real estate teaching thing for the people? So
now they on their own.
Right? Yeah. So now they on their own. But see, it goes to show you that these people are disingenuous and they are flat out liars. And see, this is the shit that angers me. We might get here with the you want me to sit here and like, don't play in my face like I'm stupid. I'm a highly intelligent person. There's absolutely no way you're going to tell me you're for the people, and yet you know someone is a predator. He said he knew that Jay was a fraud, and he knew that Big Business was a fraud. Do you know you could have saved people millions of dollars if you would have spoke up? Because you have such a large platform, and that would give you more credibility if you spoke out.
And why not speak up after all the time and all the stuff that you had? Because here's the issue.
Right.
I got other friends that, like celebrity friends, that Caesar was still trying to get money from.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that there's issues, why haven't you already come out and say, hey, wait a minute, guys, right now there's some trouble in paradise. Shit ain't making sense, and we got to make sure right now.
Right, just pause. Right, just pause before
you right now, guys, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
No more. Anybody that's been investing with Caesar, he's got a couple things we need to make sure of right now. Nobody else invests until you hear from me. He should have did something to stay silent. And literally, I talked to someone the other day. This person was about to actually wire $2 million. So let me tell you, it just happened to be that the night before, guess what happened? The dude comes in with the $1 million story. So imagine if imagine this. He had called Envy. He called Envy
The guy that had the 2 million that he was going to.
He called Envy.
Mhm.
Had a conversation with Envy prior to anything. Hey, here's what I'm considering doing.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts? What did you think Envy told him?
I mean, based on this, he's nobody's babysitter.
No,
Envy,
Envy,
within the
no,
same
no, no, no,
conversation,
no, no,
he
no,
went
no,
from
no,
being,
no.
I'm
No,
here for the people,
hey,
but no
no, no, no,
babysitter.
no, 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 no. Envy said, "Don't do it."
So now he's babysitting. Which is it?
He told him, "Don't do it."
See, if he's gonna look out for this guy that got 2 million, why is he not looking out for the
Because the
people
guy
who
that
got
had
70,000?
that guy is very, very huge, very, very huge, very, very big following. So if he says it, oh, it's viral. It's viral.
Got
yeah.
Got it. Here we go.
Followers and be leaders. People got to do their own homework. When I give anybody money for any of my investments, some do well, some don't do well. All my investments, I do my own homework. Someone to me right now in Envy, I got a crib in Miami and it's worth this. I'm not doing it because you're a nice guy that got a lot of followers. I would be a fucking asshole. I call my accountant and I'm like, hey, look at this deal. Does this deal make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. I'm not doing it.
So
that's how it is. That's what people
I like. I like keeping it real, right? 100%. So how has your business dealings been with Caesar?
Some have been great, some haven't been. Some have been really good, and I made a lot of money, and some have been slow. And I say, yo, Envy, I got a Miami, and it's worth this. I'm not doing it because
Watch
you're a
his
nice
body
guy that
language
got
when
a
I
lot
ask
of
him.
followers. I would be a fucking asshole. I call my accountant, and I'm like, hey, look at this deal. Does this deal make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. I'm not doing it.
So
that's how it is. That's what people
I like. I like keeping it real, right? 100%. So how has your business dealings been with Caesar?
Some have been great, some haven't been. Some have been really good, and I made a lot of money, and some have been slow. And that's why I say when people invest money, sometimes it goes like this, right? And you know this. I didn't hit with Caesar a couple of times and flip money and left.
We might just get here with Dorico.
Some of my builders, like the school, we still got, and I haven't got my money back yet. But I know that's part of the game. But I also do know there's certain things that need to happen. Like when it comes to Caesar, you know, we've had a conversation, and I spoke to him, and I spoke to Jen, and I told him if he does, and I asked him personally, I said, do you owe people money?
Does he owe you money?
We have an investment together that we're going to sell. He does not owe me money. We partnered up on a property. We partnered up on a property.
Does he
owe
you money, DJ Envy?
It's a school. Let me tell you.
You talked offline, DJ Envy.
No, I'm
Can't
gonna
do
tell you
that.
100%. No, I'm gonna tell you.
Do that, Envy.
I'm gonna tell you that you're gonna let me speak or we not.
No, but we got. If we're gonna tell the truth, we got to tell the truth.
We gonna tell the truth.
Now.
We speaking the truth. Because I tell you everything. I talk to you offline.
That's what I'm saying.
I told you, me and Caesar, we bought a school. That's the only outstanding deal that we have. That school never came back, and that school isn't done yet. When I spoke to Caesar today, I told him I have a problem, and he said, I'm giving you your money back. That's it. So we don't have any dealings with each other. And
see that right there, it speaks to something that Eli talks about a lot. He's going to give DJ Envy his money back, so we cool, right? What does that mean? The deal is still bad, but as long as he gets his money back, he's cool. But what about the other people? The people who are going to want to invest with him later on down the line. He's getting his money back because, one, he said he complained to Caesar. Well, most people probably can't get Caesar on the phone when they owe him money. I mean, he owes them money because they're not close business partners who share the same freaking office space. And then when they ask for their money back, I bet you they don't get the same response. He's saying, oh, well, I'm going to get my money back so we cool. That doesn't mean that the business deal was straight.
And also, this goes back to my point. You're not getting your money back because it was a successful real estate transaction. No real estate is being bought and sold here. See, let me explain something to you, because this is one of the biggest problems. And this kind of pisses me off too with some people like in the chat in the comment section. An investment can go up, it can go down. Just because an investment went up doesn't mean it was a good investment. And just because an investment went down doesn't mean it's a bad investment. There's something just about timing. What's happening here is that, especially when you get to the court case with Amy Flips, he never took the money and acquired real estate, allegedly. He simply just took the money and went and did something else with it. So this is where the scam comes into play. For example, if I go and I buy Apple stock at $200, and then next week the stock drops to $150, I just bought it at a bad time. It went down. I still own the stock and can liquidate it for $150 per share. In this case, they're not even acquiring real estate. They're not buying real estate with your money. So you don't have a deed. You don't have a property. You have nothing to go and liquidate. That's a pure Ponzi scheme, because you are coming to people under the guise that if you give me money, I'm going to buy a property, renovate a property, sell it, and then give you the profit. And what's happening is when you give them the money, that money is then going to pay back DJ Envy. It's going to pay back the other investors. There's no actual real estate transactions happening. This is why it's a Ponzi scheme. This is why it's a scam. And like I'm getting sick and tired of hearing people talk about, oh, you know, selling a course is a scam. This has nothing to do with a goddamn course. These people are acting as fiduciaries, as money managers. They're taking your money and they're saying, I'm going to invest your money. It has nothing to do with a course. They're not buying a course here. They're buying real estate services, and they're not getting the real estate services. And what's happening now, DJ Envy's trying to sit up here and pretend like he doesn't know what's going on, when on the phone he's talking to Tony, he's saying he owes me money. And not only does he owe DJ Envy money, but he owes a lot of other people money. And it goes back to my point, and I'm going to keep saying this. When you have a platform, when you're doing it for the culture, when you're doing it for the red, black, and green, the Back to Africa, the B1s, the Hoteps, for your people, it can't just be about getting the money from the people. You also got to stand by the people and do right by the people. And if you know that someone is a predator, just the same way you elevated and promoted them, you better use that same platform to put them on blast.
Yep. All right. Tony, is there anything else in it? Because I remember this interview. I mean, for the most part, he just kind of goes on and on. Is there anything else you want to highlight? Because I want to get to the court documents.
I mean, you can actually go to the court documents. I mean, I think like the overall concept, we get it. I mean, it's an extremely dismissive video. He's trying to separate himself from Caesar. It's the obvious. Right now, the pressure was on. He had a personal conversation with me. He got online and he just went politically correct. He acted as if he didn't know if there were indeed people who were owed money. He did act like he didn't know about any of these court cases and lawsuits that were pending. He acted like he didn't know shit. Like, hey, you got to ask Caesar. Maybe this is true. Maybe it's not. But I'm not involved in it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. This is all Caesar, and I don't take nobody's money. That sums up the video.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So Eli, if you can pull that up, and listen, people, we got over 2,000 in the live stream. We got like 500 something likes. Take this moment right now, hit the like button. Why? Just for me? A little bit for me. But also, when you hit the like button, other people, YouTube will push this out to other people who need to see this. We talk about predatory behavior with people in our community. You just saw DJ Envy basically tell y'all, don't focus on celebrity, right? If you're trying to invest your money or get something, don't focus on celebrity, because you see how these celebrities react when there's a responsibility put on them. They don't want the responsibility of doing the due diligence for you. So stop thinking that they actually do due diligence. If you see someone on Earn Your Leisure, don't think for a moment that Rashad or Troy are checking their background, seeing if they're actually licensed to do what they said, checking to see their BBB. Some of the people who they put on their platform have a horrible BBB rating. That's the least you can do, is check their BBB rating. They're not doing it. Take it for what it is. It's entertainment. Watch it for entertainment, but don't think that any of these big platforms that have on these gurus are actually doing due diligence for you. And also, if there's an affiliate link, just know they're getting paid when they sell their product with their affiliate link. The host is getting money. And when that happens, what's the incentive of a host to actually do due diligence and check and see if the info that they're giving is bad, if that's going to stop them from getting a bag? A lot of these guys who have these podcasts, they had no real business before they got a podcast. The podcast is their cash cow. So if the podcast is their cash cow, they are not going to cut off any stream of income that they can get from that podcast. They're not successful in anything business-wise other than the podcast. So they can't afford not to take payola. They can't afford not to get an affiliate link for somebody's mastermind or whatever. So hit the like button so other people can be made aware of what's going on. But I see the case pop up, so let me add it to the
They
screen.
call me the real estate slayer.
All right, Eli, talk us through this. What do we see right here?
So this
Hey,
right
do me a favor
here.
real quick, JT. Put me in the backstage for a second.
You got it. Go ahead, E.
So this is a court case right here between Cesar, his company, his wife, and a lady by the name of Amy Flips. That's her LLC. Now, understand, you can go and pull this information up on your own right over here at the New Jersey courts and just simply go put his name in, go look at civil cases, civil cases right now, and put in Cesar Pina. One thing about me, because see, I love when people come to me and say, oh man, you're just clout chasing. You're just slandering someone. How do you know these things? Where's the documentation? So first, there's no victims, right? It's just you on here talking. How do we know you're telling the truth? Then we produce wire receipts. Then we produce judgments against the person. Then we produce text messages, voice recordings, right? Emails. And now we have actual court cases that are going on right now. And it's amazing to me that you need all of this quote unquote evidence to see that there's a problem. Now, what she's alleging here in this complaint, you have 15 or 20 other people saying the same thing from all over the United States. So there's no way that you could say, oh, these are agents or these are COINTELPRO government people coming to take down the culture and infiltrate us because we're just doing it so real. Because this is the foolishness that these people want you to believe. So here we go. I'm going to get to the juicy part, the juicy stuff. I don't really want to go through the whole thing. Let's get to this part right here. So it says, the defendant from Start to Flipping LLC is in a business of providing seminars and opportunities to individuals seeking to become involved in purchasing, renovating, and flipping real estate. Defendant Cesar Pina is an individual with the principal residence. That's his address. And this is his wife's address right here. I want to get to right here. On about August 30th, 2022, plaintiff met defendant Cesar Pina to discuss a potential real estate investment opportunity. At the August 30th, 2022 meeting, defendant Cesar Pina represented that he has vast experience in the business of purchasing, rehabilitating, and flipping homes, and that there was at least one new project that plaintiff should be involved in. Defendant Cesar Pina stressed that he works with numerous celebrities and his past projects have all been extremely successful. So now again, all of the things that we were speaking about here, this lady has in her complaint. She's talking about the seminars because the seminars are the marketing funnels. Now she's talking about the fact that he's leveraging the fact that he's worked with celebrities in the past successfully. This is a way to lure you in to get you to do business. So when you come up here and you tell me that I'm a hater, when you come up here and tell me that I'm a clout chaser, wow, isn't it amazing that the very things that I've been saying now for 5 years, this lady's saying here in the case. I've been talking about Polite. I've been talking about Umar. I've been talking about Jay. And the same thing keeps happening time and time again. Now here we are again, and the same thing's happening.
Hey,
Eli, all
Eli,
of the things. Go ahead.
Do you realize all three of the people you just named have all been on the Breakfast Club?
Yep. Yep.
All three.
All three. And yet, notice you've never seen a Breakfast Club say anything about their fraudulent business practices, their deceptive marketing. No, they just distance themselves to take the video down. But see, it gets even better. Now, on line 16, it says defendant Cesar Pina represented that the plaintiff provided $250,000 for the purchase of the first property located in Maplewood, New Jersey. Defendants would be able to complete the renovations, sell the renovated property, and return to the plaintiff her money plus an additional 20% within 5 months. That right there is the biggest red flag. If you are a businessman or woman and you are doing real estate business, how do you know in 5 months you're going to be able to sell a property? How do you know? There's no guarantee that you're going to have a buyer in 5 months. So see, when you're looking at a deal, because I believe in teaching real financial literacy here, and a person is saying, give me $250,000. I'm going to acquire the property, renovate the property, give you back the money, plus 20% within 5 months. How do they know? What if the Fed raises interest rates? What if a fire happens in the home? Right? What if they run into a problem and they can't pull permits in a certain amount of time? How does he know in 5 months he's going to be able to give you back your money?
There's no way. And this is how silly it is. And it's great that you mentioned this is the teaching part, right? I want people to focus on this. How in the hell would he be able to give a 20% return on this? How much money is he making on it? Just think about this. If a person is coming to you with a deal and they're saying, I'm going to be able to get you a 20% return, then the actual return of the transaction has to be more than 20% because they're going to pay themselves. Then here's the other part that I always ask people. What the hell makes you so special? Why are they coming to you with this layup, with this easy deal? It's $250,000. He's supposed to be like a mogul in a sense now, right? Why would he need this woman $250,000 if the deal is such a good deal? He should either, one, have the money to fund the deal himself, or two, already have a business associate, maybe like DJ Envy, I don't know. Maybe have a business associate that he can go to for this easy layup. What would make this person so blessed with an opportunity like this? Why would he give this person the deal and not either give it to himself or give it to someone else who he's already done several transactions with? It doesn't make sense.
But like I said, that goes back to my point of why only 20%? Why not 30? Why not 40? How do you know exactly that you're going to sell the property? Because if you've ever been a part of a real estate transaction, we can list the property for $500,000. That doesn't mean we're going to get $500,000. But see, here's where the deceptive and the predatory nature comes into play. Because on line 17, watch this. This is very, very important here. Furthermore, in an attempt to convince the plaintiff that there was no risk associated with her extending the capital, defendant Cesar Pina and Jennifer Pina offered to personally guarantee the return of the plaintiff's capital plus 20%. So let's put our thinking caps on.
Please.
If they already got the capital plus the 20%, why do they need her capital? If they have the capital, think about this, right? If they have the capital already on their own, then why the fuck would they need her capital? See, it just goes to show you whenever a person tries to sweeten a deal so much like that and say, there's no risk, none whatsoever. Because even if you lose your money, I'm going to give you back your money plus the 20%. Why would they want to be so nice to you?
Real quick, shout out. We got the lead attorney in the building. Shouts out to the lead attorney, man. Listen, I don't want to be a negative person. I know a lot of you out there, you're aspiring to build wealth. I got it. And you watch a lot of these platforms that claim that they're doing it for the culture, and they inspire you because you feel like, hey, man, we're a community and we want to see each other win. Great. That's not how business is, though. Let me be very clear. There is no reason, any logical reason, that a business person would offer this person a deal like this. It makes no sense. If they have the money to guarantee that they'll be able to give this person their principal back no matter what, not only would they be able to give the person their principal investment back, they also guarantee the 20% ROI, no matter what happens in the actual transaction, the person will get their money back and the 20%. You're not that special. I know many of you were taught with elementary teachers who told you how special you are and how you're going to be the president when you grow up, or you're going to be an astronaut when you grow up. And many of you got participation trophies. You showed up to the competition, so you got a ribbon around your neck. You didn't win the race, but you showed up. That's not how the business world works, right? It's dog eat dog in the business world. No one's getting a deal like this. What's the point of having an investor if you're going to guarantee their return, guarantee their principal? You don't need them. No one's gifting you wealth. I'm sorry. There's no Nigerian prince who just needs you to help them wash $2 trillion and he'll give you $1 billion. That's not real. This is like one of those deals. Honest to God, if a client came into my office and they told me that they had a deal like this, I would tell them, number one, bullshit. This person is a liar. Walk away. I would straight up tell them that, because there's no way that you, a person where $250,000 is a lot of money to you, why would they go to you? Why not go to one of the many celebrities who have multiples of millions of dollars who wouldn't even ask about the money until 5 years later? It doesn't make sense. So I'm sorry.
But see now, because again, we're teaching here. This is where the predatory nature begins to kick in. Because now, once they get you to bite on that first deal, what do you think the predator does? They go, that was kind of easy. We got $250,000 from her pretty easy. They come to her with another deal. Because see, understand, they want to, the whole purpose of the seminar is to get you in the funnel, to get you a loan, to get you with the coaching, and then to get you to bite. Similar to how big business used the kid hard with the $100,000. See, what I want you guys to start to see is that there's a pattern of behavior with all of these quote unquote real estate moguls and gurus, where they get you a loan and they go, damn, you had well, how much money do you got? So now the first property was for Maplewood, New Jersey. Now it goes, shortly thereafter, the defendant, Cesar Pina, advised the plaintiff that he had identified a second property. So, I mean, the first one was great.
Stop it.
Now he has the second one in Thornton, New Jersey, and requested the plaintiff again provide capital in the amount of $250,000 for the purchase of same. Just like the Maplewood property, defendants advised that once the Hawthorne property was purchased, they would renovate the property, resell same, and plaintiff would receive a return of her capital plus 20% within 5 months. Now, again, let's dissect this, because see, this is real financial literacy. No celebrities, no Steve Harvey, no Diddy, no, just really teaching you. He wants you to believe that he's going to be able to acquire a property, not one, but two now. He's going to be able to renovate them simultaneously at the same time, right? And then flip them all within 5 months and be able to give you 20%. I want you to think about that, right? And then be able to guarantee. So now he's guaranteeing you $500,000 plus the 20%. So now you got to say to yourself, now he's throwing an extra $100,000 on top of the $500,000 that you've invested, guaranteed. And he's guaranteed that he can do the flip, the fix and flip within 5 months.
It ain't gonna happen, man.
Too good to be true. It's too good to be true.
Why wouldn't he just do the deal himself? It's that's like someone coming up to you and saying, listen, I've got the winning numbers to a lottery ticket. No, better yet, I've got the winning lottery ticket. Just pay me for it, turn it in, and we'll split it together. Like it just doesn't.
But it gets even better now. So after they've guaranteed it, right, on about September 7th, defendants provided plaintiff with 2 agreements entitled joint venture agreement. So there's a contract in place, memorializing the terms of the proposed deal. Defendant Cesar Pina and Jennifer Pina also provided plaintiff with a personal guarantee whereby they agreed to personally guarantee the return of plaintiff's capital plus 20% within 5 months. So they're putting it on paper that they have the money, that they're good for it. On about September 9th, the parties executed the joint venture. Plaintiffs subsequently provided defendants with requested capital for the purchase of the properties. Right now, upon information and belief, this is key here. Defendants never intended to utilize plaintiff's capital for the purchase of the Maplewood or Hawthorne properties, as same were already owned by the defendants. So while they're meeting with her, telling her that they have these potential properties that they're looking at, they've already owned the properties. So that's where the deceptive nature comes into play, because they're taking your $500,000 and they're not using it to purchase the property. They've already owned the property. Doesn't that sound like a lot of what Big Business was doing? Where he would come to you and say, hey, you're my mentee. I'm doing it for the culture. I'm going to sell you a property. This is a great deal, Group 1. I already got the property that's on the condemned list, allegedly, for $2,500 or $5,000, and I'm going to sell it to you for $40,000. Look at the deal you got. For the culture, baby.
I'm such a nice guy. I'm such a nice guy. I'm going to give you this deal because I'm such a nice guy.
Yeah, you know, because I care so much about my people. You know, I'm young Martin. I'm young Malcolm. I'm putting my life on the line. I'm putting my life on the line to sell you this $5,000 property for $40,000. I'm risking my life. I'm working for the people. You know.
Hey, listen, we're laughing. I know there's real victims. And we're laughing. But the comedy comes from the tragedy of the hypocrisy of how they market themselves. They're doing it for the culture. They're doing it for you. They're doing it because they want to help their people. But when we go to these court cases, when we look through bankruptcies, when we actually look at the predatory nature of their business practices, it looks as if they're doing it for themselves. And once again, I know there's a lot of you out there, you want to do better financially. But the truth is, what they're trying to sell you is a dream. It's not reality. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take financial discipline. The lifestyles that they show you guys, the reason why they can live that lifestyle, it looks like it's because they're defrauding people. That's how they're able to live a celebrity / athlete type of lifestyle, and they're just an online influencer. It's because they're grifting is what it looks like. You're not going to be able to do it.
I'm not laughing at the lady because what you're going to see here, this lady was a smart, tough cookie here. She was no fool. She was on her business. I'm laughing at the cliches and the marketing, like JT said, that they use where they call themselves young Martin and young Malcolm. And they talk about all this stuff about the culture and group economics. And it's like, you have the Hotep Avengers, the Back to Africa Avengers, the B1 Avengers. Like Umar, we're gonna build a school for the black boys, and we're gonna get a museum, and we're gonna have a real estate fund. And it is you buy into this stuff. You take them up on offer, and you give them your money, and they can't deliver nothing. See, prior to getting your money, man, this is a slam dunk deal. I guarantee it. I put my own money on the line, right? And then you take them up on the offer, and barely can get a dividend payment, barely can turn a profit. It's the same thing time and time again. And what I'm trying to get a lot of you to understand, if a person has to go so over the top to sell you, that should tell you all you need to know right now, because a good investment doesn't need all the gimmicks behind it. It will speak for itself. You'll be able to look at some numbers. You'll be able to look at some data, and you'll be able to analyze the deal. And luckily for this lady, she was smart. So see, this lady didn't just trust him blindly. She listened to what he said he could do. And the minute that he started not being able to do it, she held him accountable. This is a smart, intelligent investor. And I want to get to that right now. So now she's realizing that they already own the properties. So upon information and belief, the representation contained in the joint venture agreements provided by the defendants were knowingly false and intended to deceive the plaintiff. Upon information and belief, defendants made numerous false and misleading representations to the plaintiff, with the expectation that she will rely upon same and provided requesting capital. After providing defendants with agreed capital, plaintiff requested additional information concerning the draw schedule and the details about the projects. Subsequent to receiving plaintiff's capitals, defendants ceased responding to plaintiff's inquiries in a timely manner and became elusive. Now listen, doesn't it sound a lot like big business? Doesn't it sound a lot like Jay? If you read the cases, if you read what people say, when it's time to get the money, oh man, they on the phone to Kane, bro, sis. Now they get your money. Now you can't get them on the phone. Now they're too busy. Now
talk about that. I've heard situations where these mentees or these investors, they be on the phone with these people for like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. These are supposed to be big time influencers / celebrities, people who you expect are they have an extremely busy life, right, Eli? They're doing this, they're jet setting, they're doing all of this stuff. But when it's time to actually get your money, they're easily accessible. They'll talk to you for as long as it takes. 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Then as soon as you turn over the money, you can't get a text message returned on time. Your phone is always going to voicemail. You're hitting them up on the Instagram page. You find out that you're blocked on Instagram because that's what they do. That's how they make their lifestyle, by pulling a bunch of money from people who are fans or followers who look at them as if they are some kind of authority. Then when they get the money, like Eli say, these people, they talk a big talk about all the stuff they can do, right? You'll have a guy like 19 Keys on EYL explaining where your consciousness goes when you go to sleep. And it can explain all of these things about manhood and how the world was created and how the universe started and all of this stuff. How the astral project. You understand me? You understand me? He can talk about all of this stuff. But when it came to actually doing business with the Black World Order, or bridging wealth opportunities, or even some cryptocurrency deals that he was in on, don't think we're not tracking your wallet. I know your crypto wallet, we're tracking your wallet for pump and dumps, 19 Keys. So just be aware of that. It's not like you can delete it. That's why I can openly say that I'm tracking, or I've got people who are tracking the transactions in your crypto wallet, because it's crypto, baby. It's the blockchain. You can't do anything about it. We can see funds going in and out of your crypto wallet. And we told that allegedly you were a part of some pump and dumps. They can talk all of this stuff before they get your money. But when you get their money, and when they actually get the money, it's nothing but excuses about why it didn't work out. All they have is excuses.
And you know the funny thing about him, I can't wait to get on him. He was out here selling crowns, talking about they protect you from 5G radiation. Right? And then now he's so big into technology and artificial intelligence. Like it goes to show you how these people will jump from one extreme to the next extreme. Or one end, he's selling you a bandana that can protect you from 5G radiation. Because remember, the 5G radiation was the reason why the pandemic started. And then now he shifts from being anti-technology to now he's, everything about artificial intelligence and NFTs. I mean, make it make sense.
But I'm sorry, Eli, we're haters. We're haters. We're hating on another successful Black man. But they're not successful when they get the money. They're only successful when they got the sales pitch to go get your money. But let's get back to the.
So now, says, it wasn't until October 3rd, 2022, the defendants provided plaintiff with what the purported to be the draw schedule for the projects. Upon information and belief, the draw schedule provided by defendants on October 3rd, 2022 was fictitious. So she's alleging that they're basically forging documents. Between October 3rd and 2022, or October 3rd, 2022, and mid-November 2022, defendants failed to communicate with plaintiff or respond to plaintiff's communication attempts. So think about this. We're talking about a month and a half goes by, and they're not even responding back to the plaintiff, allegedly. Eventually, the plaintiff and defendants agreed to meet on November 22nd, 2022, whereby defendant Cesar Pina did not provide any information concerning the Maplewood or Hawthorne projects, but instead attempted to pitch another project to the plaintiff. So here it is now. He has $500,000 of money. He's not communicating with her, but then he gets together with her, doesn't talk about the other two properties, but instead tries to pitch her on a new property. Because, hey, what's better than 2 investments? 3. Now it goes between November 2022 and January 30th, 2023. Plaintiff waited for the Maplewood and Hawthorne projects to be completed and was made to believe that all was proceeding as planned. Now think about this. I'm not the greatest mathematician in the world. I'm being sarcastic. But if she went into business with you in September and now here we are in January, isn't that coming up on the 5 months? Shouldn't we be at the process of now closing, right? Flipping the property, because the property should be renovated up to this point, right? It
doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if the property was renovated. She's got the personal guarantee. So even if the property hasn't had one hammer hit one nail, even if it's a shack, even if it was condemned and bulldozed over and the county took over possession of the property, she should still be getting her money at this time because of the personal guarantee of the principal, which is now up to $500,000 and a 20% return, no matter what.
Right. Because at this point, he should be showing her images or videos of a completed property. At this point now, they should be getting ready to put the property on the market to sell it, right? Because it takes time to flip the property and sell it, right? Because if we're in January 30th of 2023, that's coming right up on 5 months. So it gets better. On January 30th, plaintiff contacted defendants to inquire as to what information was required in order for defendants to send capital and 20% return to the plaintiff, as same was becoming due on February 9th, 2023. Now, like I said, I'm not the greatest mathematician in the world, but I know June 30th is pretty damn close to the 5 months. So now she's saying, hey, you guaranteed, you told me you big Caesar, you was on a Breakfast Club, I got $500,000 of my money. Where you going to send the money to plus the 20%? In response to the plaintiff January 30th correspondence, defendant Cesar Pina advised that he just needed some more time due to the fact that his father had passed away and he was grieving. Wow. Isn't it very convenient that when my money, it's time for me to get my money, your father passes away and you're grieving. But mind you, you're not the one doing the construction on a home. So your father passing away should have nothing to do with the home getting renovated because you're not swinging the hammer. Right? That's irrelevant, right? So and you're not the realtor, so you're not selling the property. You're basically, you got the system in place because you handling big business, right? You moving money around, you're doing it. So I don't understand how your father passing away has anything to do with the transaction getting completed.
Real quick, so I just want to highlight, great point. It is a red flag whenever you see Negroes start talking, because before there was no conversations about family issues. I'm sure they didn't have a big conversation about, my father's not doing too well. Like before the money was handed off, right? Was no conversations about that. It's a very common, and it's not just, online influence of Negroes. This is across the board, any financial scammers. When you start to ask about your money and they start bringing up personal issues about my grandma is sick, my mother died, all of this stuff, what they're doing is they're preying on the common factor that most people do not want to be perceived as an asshole. Okay, let me be clear here. Most of you who are watching this right now or listening to this, you like to be perceived as a good guy or a good girl. You don't want someone to look at you like, hey, you're asking me about money. I'm dealing with a family issue right now. How dare you? See, I don't have that, and I've never had that. I'm somewhat of an asshole. I don't care what's going on in your personal life. If you have $500,000 of my money, I don't care what happened. I need answers. All of that can be settled later. But scammers know most people like to be perceived as good guys and good girls. So they're going to prey on the fact that, hey, I got a family issue right now. What does that do? That buys them time because you're going to back up because you don't want to be a bad guy. The same energy that they have when they ask for your money, you need to see the same energy when you ask for your money back. And all the personal issues, family issues, your dog died, whatever happened, it doesn't matter. Don't give them that extra time. Get your money back. I'm sorry.
And
Go ahead,
know,
Eli.
what I will add to that, and I think this is important. See, I can understand that he was dealing with a legal matter. Maybe he had a judgment or a lien against him, and maybe his funds were locked up. Okay, that's something that you can prove to me legitimately with documentation and paperwork. Because in the world of business, things do happen. Okay, great. I understand that. But you're talking about a personal matter that has nothing to do with the transaction. I could see if maybe the permits were slow, and hey, maybe the contractors weren't, moving as fast as you needed to, or maybe you had to replace contractors. Tell me something that has something to do with the property, with the actual job. Because what I will tell you, I've been a part of a bunch of business dealings. Murphy's Law always happens, right? What can go wrong will go wrong, right? There will always be something that will happen in business. But then you need to be able to document that for your investors. What I don't want to ever see is I'm coming here and you're telling me your personal issues. Your personal has nothing to do with the deal.
Nothing.
Because the contractors are working, you're not. And the realtor's going to be selling the property, you're not. So all you're doing is overseeing the job. So if it has nothing to do with the actual job, you and I have a problem. Now, she goes, plaintiff then sent numerous follow-up correspondence to defendants on February 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, and the 22nd, acquiring about the status of payments she was due, and as saying were now past due. Now think about this. Here it is. Okay, you're grieving, right? That's in January 30th or sometime in January. It's 2 weeks later, and she's reaching out to you, and you're not responding. Now you would think if you're such a big celebrity, flipping NJ, you would have an assistant at least that could respond. Even if you couldn't respond, you would have someone that's working for you that could respond. I mean, that's how legitimate business goes, right? Because if I have my money with a fund or a hedge fund, I'm not expecting to be able to call and speak to Bill Ackman. I'm expecting to be able to call to a representative, right? So where are the people who are working for this empire that he put up? Nowhere to be found. That's another thing. Red flag, a huge red flag. You are investing with someone or you're donating to a school. There needs to be a team in place, a board in place, other executives in place, other managers in place. So that therefore, because one man, see, it's one thing if it's just like a one-on-one investment between you and a guy, that's different. These people are operating on a large scale. There's absolutely no way you can run a large-scale operation with just one person. So whenever you don't see a website that says, here's my team, here's the people that's in place, that's a red flag right there. Because one man cannot manage all of these different things at one time. There's only 24 hours in a day. You got to sleep 8 of them. You got to eat. You got to shower. You got to spend time with your family. And you still got to make sure you stay up to date with new deals. So it goes, despite failing to provide any information in response to the plaintiff's numerous correspondence, on around March 1st, 2023, defendant sent the sum of $30,000 to the plaintiff in an attempt to appease her. Plaintiff subsequently sent numerous correspondence to the defendant between March 1st and March 22nd, requesting detailed information as to the status of the projects and when defendants would be making the required and past due payments. Defendants failed to respond to the plaintiff's numerous inquiries and did not provide any of the requested information. As a result of the defendant's failure to provide plaintiff with the funds to which she was due and or to provide the requested information, plaintiff was forced to send a formal demand through counsel demanding the overdue funds and previously requested information. In response to the demand letter from the plaintiff's counsel on about March 31st, 2023, an associate of the defendants called the plaintiff and advised that the defendant, Cesar Pina, had lost his phone and had been unable to respond to her messages.
That, Eli, that sounds like a bad boyfriend lie. Right? That sounds like a bad boyfriend. Like, I lost my phone. I'm sorry. Babe, I would have called
my dog
you.
ate it.
I would have called you. I lost my phone. My bad. Even though I'm supposed to be this big time celebrity. Listen, I'm not a celebrity. I lost my phone before. I bought a new one same day. Same day. Why? I've got people I need to be in contact with immediately. Lost my phone at like 5 p.m. Had a new phone at 6:15. That quick. It doesn't take a whole lot. And I'm not some sort of big time celebrity.
But it gets even better. So she goes, shortly thereafter, the plaintiff went to the defendant's office to inquire about the status of the projects and payments in person. Defendants represented that the properties were under contract to be sold and that the funds would be forthcoming in the very near future. Despite the plaintiff's numerous requests to see a copy of the purported purchase agreements, defendants have failed to provide copies of same to date. Between April 1st, 2023 and the present, plaintiff had continued to inquire as to the status of the purported sales and demand monies to which she was owed. Despite continuing to maintain that the properties are in process of being sold and closing are imminent, defendants have failed to provide any documentary proof to substantiate same to date. This goes back to, like I said before, I'm sick and tired of hearing people talk about selling courses are scams. This man was supposed to be providing real estate services, financial services to this lady. He was supposed to be taking the capital. He had some properties he was looking at, allegedly. He was supposed to take said capital, acquire those properties, renovate those properties, sell those properties, give her back her money plus the 20%. Okay, when you buy a course, you get the course. Whether the course is good or not, it depends on the instructor, but you get the course. Because see, Boyce loves to do stuff like this. You know, you don't ask questions when you buy Popeye's chicken. When you buy Popeye's chicken, you get a chicken sandwich. Whether the sandwich is good or not is not the conversation we're having. You get it. When you put your money in a fund, you're looking to make money. If you are not making money, then we need to know why. In this case right here, this lady gave money to acquire real estate. And they try to make it seem like they acquired these properties with her money. She then later found out they had already owned these properties. So they were trying to pull a fast one on her because her money never went to the acquiring of real estate, the purchasing of real estate. This is where the Ponzi scheme comes into play. Because now when they make you whole, right, they purposely do bad business. They're juggling your money. They want to string you along. And then what they do, you come to the, oh, here's 30,000. That's not what the deal was. It was 5 months, 500,000 plus 20%. So now this goes back to like the big business situation. Where did the money go? The money doesn't magically disappear. If you didn't use her capital to acquire the properties, then what did you use the capital for? I would guess, and I would assume that capital was used to pay off older investors. This is where the Ponzi comes into play. This is where DJ Envy comes into play. Because what they're doing is they're banking on, if we can keep doing seminars, if we can keep going out here, we can keep getting new money to come in to pay off the old investors.
Yeah, yeah. And there's some people who may be confused. So if you raise money for a particular reason, you do not have the discretion to change up the use of the funds. Because some people will say, well, hold on, Eli, maybe they already own the property, but they was going to use the money to rehab the property and then sell it and get our money back. It doesn't matter. If you raise money for a particular reason and you outline what that reason is to the investor, you do not have the ability or the authority to change. You would have to go back to the investor and make an amendment to the agreement before you can use the funds in a way other than what they agreed to. Now, some of y'all will say, well, JT, that's being petty. As long as they're using the money in a way to get you your return, who cares? The problem is what Eli is pointing out. It looks as if this is a Ponzi scheme. Because we watched the video earlier where DJ Envy went on Tony's Live, and he said he had good dealings with Cesar, and he had bad dealings with Cesar. And right now he's in a bad deal where Cesar owes him $500,000. But he called Cesar, and Cesar understood how upset Envy was. Caesar's going to give him the money back. Well, $500,000, that's the same amount of money that this investor gave, where the money wasn't to actually buy a property. So one could put together that maybe the $500,000 from this investor is going to go pay back someone who happens to be owed $500,000 from Caesar, and that's DJ Envy. I can't guarantee that's where the money's going, but these are the storylines that can easily play out in a courtroom because the numbers seem to match up.
And you know what's beautiful about this, like I said before, again, let's say that you wanted to kind of get tricky with it. You wanted to kind of wheel and deal like that. It would be one thing if you made everything right. We're talking about literally 15, 20 people who have the same problem. So at this point, and I say this all the time, these people have not acquired the success or the lifestyles that they have through entrepreneurship and business. They didn't even acquire this through selling courses. They've acquired this lifestyle through fraud. See, it's not the course selling that's allowing them to have the Rolls Royces, to go on the jets. It's taking people's money and not using the money for investments. So when you see all of these people and they have this jewelry on and they're with these celebrities and they're flying on these yachts and jets, it's not the podcasts, it's not the courses, it's not the seminars, it's not the real estate selling, it's not the stock selling or buying or trading. It's flat out fraud. This is what's happening here. They're not purchasing real estate, they're committing fraud. Now, I know for you, oh, well, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. I would give you that benefit of the doubt if it was one or two people. Because listen, sometimes bad business deals happen and some people may not be educated what they're investing in. We have over 15, 20 people and it's only been 48 to 72 hours.
Right. It can get frustrating when we think about all of the so-called platforms. And real quick, shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. I've got almost 75,000 subscribers. O'Shea Duke Jackson interviewed me on his platform when I had 1,000 subscribers. The very day he drops the interview, I go from 1,000 to 4,000 to almost 10,000. So shouts out to my brother O'Shea Duke Jackson. If y'all not subscribed to him, go check out his platform. But what's frustrating is, let's say like O'Shea put me on his platform. I can tell you right now, if a scandal broke out where a lot of O'Shea's subscribers did a business deal with me, and it looks as if I defrauded many of his subscribers, I know 100% that O'Shea would come out with a video distancing himself from me, apologizing for introducing me to his community, and he would be working to help them get their money back. Because that's just what any that's just what you would do if you actually cared about the audience that you're basically selling to all of these fake gurus to get on your platform.
And the lady also gave him ample time to rectify it. She gave him close to almost 60 to 65 days to even come up with the money and fix the situation, or even just provide the, think about it. She was willing to wait longer had he just provided her with the proper documentation. See, one thing about Black people, we are very, very forgiving, right? And we're very, very understanding as the people.
Forgiving.
She was willing to give him even more time. All he had to do was provide the documentation for her. What made her get suspicious is when he could not provide the actual purchase agreement of the properties, because that's when she said, now you're trying to play me like a fool. Because if you really acquired these properties, you should be able to tell me the purchase price of those properties. Because see, one thing about real estate, there's nothing murky or tricky about it. It's either you bought the property or you did it. And you should be able to show me the actual closing and everything that you went through when you acquired those properties. And like I said before, man, you know, you need to be looking at any platform right now with a side eye that had these people on as guests and leveraged them and presented them to you like they was an authority in real estate, like they was an expert. And now those same platforms are quiet. Yeah, I'm going to say it and I'm going to stand on it. And I don't care how anyone feels about it, because at the end of the day, remember, when you decide to step into a role of leadership, the people didn't ask you to be young Malcolm. You chose to be young Malcolm. They didn't ask you to be King Kong consciousness. You wanted to open up a school for black boys, right? They didn't ask you to start a real estate fund. They didn't ask you to start a school for black boys. No one asked you to go out here and be Mr. Flippin' NJ. You decided to take on that mantle. So when you decide to take on that role, there's certain levels of accountability and responsibility that comes with those roles. When you want to call yourself the biggest, and when you want to say you're doing it for the culture, then you owe the culture a certain level of responsibility and transparency that when something goes wrong, you're willing to let the culture know, hey, I don't stand by that. Because see, here's what y'all don't know. If you actually did that, you actually would raise the financial intelligence of the community, and more importantly, the trust of the community, because you've built something amazing. Most of you brothers and sisters who built these podcasts and built these platforms and YouTube channels, you've built something amazing. I've watched your first videos. They were horrible. So to be where you are now is amazing. But guess what? Just as quickly as you've built it, don't let your ego be your downfall. Don't think that you're too big that you can't come down. See, understand here, the very people that you are ignoring, that you're not standing up for, are the same people that made you the biggest.
Great point. That's such a great point. That's such a great point. It's like you play very competitive basketball. In sports, there's people who love to be the captain when the team is winning, but they don't want to take the responsibility when the team is losing. Because the coach normally uses the captain as the whipping boy when the team is losing. They don't want the constructive criticism. They only want the praise. But that's the problem with and the responsibility with being so-called leadership. You're going to get it both ways. You're going to be praised when everything is going good, even though there's other people on the team that contribute a lot to the win. But you're also going to be the number one person they point at when you lose. But a lot of it, once again, Eli, I mean, I might be taking it personal, but a lot of it comes down to this is their revenue structure. If they start exposing certain things or having accountability, that's going to hurt their income because they still make a lot of money. I believe a good portion of their money comes from the affiliate links, comes from the upfront payments of people getting on these platforms, just straight up podcast payola. So how can they cut off their revenue stream if they're not really successful doing anything else in life?
Because what's going to happen is if this gets out of control, the way that it spirals out of control, see, a lot of people don't think big, right? Follow me here. When you look at the case with like big business and this guy Cesar, right? We're talking about well over probably $30-40 million at this point, right? And eventually the feds are going to get involved. The attorney general is going to get involved. And as they start to go and do audits on these guys' bank accounts and they do forensic accounting and they start looking at the paper trail and the money trail, one question or one thing that a lot of people are going to say, because they're saying it to me, is they found these people on particular platforms. And what you don't want to do is find yourself being in the middle of these legal battles and court cases because your platform is viewed as the conduit of a lot of these bad business practices and deceptive marketing practices. Because see, one thing about the finance industry, if you've ever really worked in finance, you would understand that the level of regulation and compliance is so high, right? And it's a reason why, because you're dealing with large amounts of money. And a lot of these people are getting a chance to skirt a lot of those rules and regulations and play in that gray area where they're not really fiduciaries, they're not really money managers, they're not financial advisors, but they're talking about finance and they're operating in those capacities and spaces. Because then now this also gets to the point of selling unregistered securities, right? Because when you are selling you're selling investments that are going to perform based upon your work. well, then that fails the Howey test, right? Because the Howey test talks about what is a security and what isn't a security. And when you're guaranteeing interest payments off of the work that you're doing, in that case, then basically you're like selling securities, right? Unlicensed securities. So this where the problem starts to come in. Like I said before, a lot of you need to pay attention because see, now let's take another step back. And see, people don't like when I talk like this, but goddamn it, I'm gonna talk. Now you got to take into account a lot of this money that's flowing through these investments and flowing through these platforms is street
Talk
money.
about it. Yep.
Right. So now you got to start thinking about can you get caught up in money laundering? So it's very important that you clean up your motherfucking house, because what you don't want to do is find yourself in the middle of something that you really don't have anything to do with. You're not taking people's money. You're just interviewing people, but you don't know how these people are getting money. See, they're coming to you and they're saying, look how successful I am because I got a Rolls Royce and I got a house. I did this through real estate. But in reality, they didn't really do it through real estate. They got people behind them pumping money through them. So I think it's very, very important that if you are a person right now that has a platform, that you get this shit under control. Because I promise you, one thing about crime is it doesn't scale, right? So it's most of these agencies, they have limited budgets. Let me get my Officer E on right now. Let me teach you how crime works. It's very hard for an agency to be everywhere at one time. So what they do is they infiltrate you by bringing the crime to you. They'll bring the drugs to you for you to sell. They'll bring the guns for you to sell and use them. Because if I know who got the guns, if I sold them to you, right? So the agent will come to you and they will give you whatever the crime is that they want you to do. If it comes to the PPP fraud, if it comes to wire fraud, check fraud, all that, they'll come and they'll give you the play. They'll be the plug. Because see, some of you claim to be so street, and I wouldn't understand the street, but I understand the streets very well. Your plug in most cases is either an agent or a confidential informant. And what he will do is he will give you everything that you need and allow you to cast that wide net. So that now, when it comes time to flip the operation, all they have to do is come straight to the head and then get you to flip and then get the next ones to flip. And before you know it, they take down everyone. They do it all the time. And what can happen is you could be an innocent bystander, not knowing any better. But because you're taking money and you're getting paid for this, you're getting paid for that, you can be implemented in these cases. These people are committing fraud. These are street niggas. And people don't like when I say it, but they are. They are street niggas pretending to be educators and pretending to be financial literacy. They went from selling dope to now they are selling hope. And they're using your aspirations, thinking that I'm going to buy this credit course or I'm going to buy this Toro course, when in reality, they didn't make money from credit and Toro. They made money from drugs. And they're using this or fraud. And they're using this to clean money. Be mindful. Don't be dumb. Because I promise you, those people are watching. You can sit up here and try to make it seem like, oh, you just trying to take a brother down. No, I'm actually trying to say with you brothers, straighten up. Those people are watching.
They're not going to listen. They're not going to listen because, I get reports like you get reports. And a lot of the people who are close to them, who maybe been with them since like day one or day two, we've already got reports that some of these brothers have gone straight Hollywood. Like, you can't even talk to them directly no more. They got a buffer in between them, and you can't have a real conversation anymore because they're hobnobbing and taking pictures with celebrities. You take pictures with celebrities long enough, you can fool yourself into believing you're a celebrity when it ain't the case. You got a nice podcast, right? You good, right? You might even have a deal with a TV network. Good job. You're not a celebrity. You're not untouchable. They will come after you. And as Eli said, the same people who cheered you on the way up, because you're ignoring the issues that they're having, they're going to be the same people who are going to be cheering as you go down.
And I can already see it happening. I have so many people in my DM and they keep saying the same thing. I saw this brother on this podcast. I met this person at this event, and I promise you, as this stuff starts keep getting into the courtroom, the court cases keep popping up, because see, like I said before, you can't say most of your guests on your platform are not scammers because you're not doing the due diligence to know. You
On
can't, so you
anyone.
don't know
On
how
any
many
of
of them are or are not scammers, right? Because most of this stuff, like I said before, y'all want to keep it in the streets and stick to some code. So if me and JT or Tony don't talk about this, then we don't find out about big business. We don't then find out about the Caesar situation because we know DJ Envy's not going to do it, right? So now you have to start saying to yourself, how many other people have been doing these real estate fraudulent deals, right? How many other people have been doing this, right? Because now, remember, now you guys also start thinking about the celebrities because, see, I want you to understand this. For the first time, you have a lot of people that had an opportunity to get up close to these celebrities. And it's nothing for a celebrity to give you $100,000, $200,000, right? So I want you to be mindful, right? Once this, because right now, this is just a little YouTube thing. Don't let the national media start picking this stuff up. Don't let CNBC start picking this stuff up because, see, now let's get into the racial component of this. We know as Black men and women that we are over incarcerated and that we are made the face of certain things. What you don't want to do is those people look at that and say, damn, they got 2,000 people watching it. Damn, this might be a good story for the network. Damn, this might be good for the paper. See, I'm thinking ahead. I'm a high-level thinker, true high-level thinker. So I think that right now is time, if you really are for the culture, you need to take a step back and ask yourself, what are we doing here? And you need to really make sure that you take a hard stance and distance yourself. Because, see, now you have a leg to stand on when you can understand if you are aware of these things and you didn't go to the authorities, then you are an accomplice at that point. If you've been made aware of these crimes that's going on and you chose not to do anything, then you are an accomplice at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we talked about this on the phone before. My fear is that they're going to use this, right? They're going to use this fake guru online, all this. They're going to use this as the face of the downfall of the recession, right? Because they always got to point at somebody as this is what it was, right? Last time they're saying it was the scammy mortgage brokers who were lying to people, telling them that they qualify for a mortgage when they really didn't. They were passing off liar loans where you basically self-stated what your income was. Sounds a lot like teaching people how to get high limit credit cards when you lie about how much money you make, right? They use that as this is why there was a recession. There were people who were lying about the money that they had, the qualifications to get a mortgage. They created a bubble and it popped. My fear is they're going to use Black financial influencers, which even though they hate us, we're in that group, right? Even though they hate me and Eli, we're in a Black and financial influencers group. They're going to use that as this was a big problem when it came to the recession. You had a lot of Negroes out here with a bunch of credit cards, with hundreds of thousands of dollars of credit card debt, who were buying Airbnbs, who were doing Turo plays. And then when the economy dried up, they couldn't pay off their credit cards. They couldn't pay the mortgage. That was another thing with big business where they complained. Big business, correct me if I get this wrong, because there was so many interviews. But big business taught you how to get money on a credit card, then use the money from the credit card to buy real estate. And it got to the point where the person was like, I can't pay you big business anymore because I got to pay off the credit cards. But is that, did I summarize that right? Well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of y'all who went to EYL and you learned how to turn credit into cash. And you thought that you were going to get $20,000 from Navy Federal and $30,000 from this card and $50,000 from that card. You were going to do what Him 500 taught you to do, create a merchant account to liquidate the credit cards, then use that cash to either buy their course or buy into their investment plans, and they're not panning out right now. And now you're defaulting on all this credit card debt. You're going to be the face of the recession when you're really a victim. That's the issue you got.
And like I said earlier, people say, why do you go so hard? Why do you make this content? Because I know most of you would never even invest in half this stuff if it wasn't marketed and packaged the way that it was packaged. Many of you have no business investing. from the standpoint, number one, you don't have the level of experience, you don't have the level of disposable capital. The only reason why most of you are even getting into this space is because people are pitching you how easy and simple it is to do. But the reality is they're not even making money in the fields that they're trying to pitch you. For example, I trade every single day. I do that live in front of my students. They get to see a realistic expectation of how much money they're going to make. They're not looking at me make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not standing next to celebrities and telling you that you're going to be able to do this. You're getting to see a realistic expectation of how much money you can make when you trade the markets. These people are giving you these unrealistic expectations that they themselves have not even achieved through the actual business field that they're trying to sell you on, which is why they're resulting to Ponzi schemes and all of these scams, because they're just trying to get you to buy into what they're doing. That's effectively what's going on. It is time now for us to take a step back and understand. As an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade, almost about 15 years now. I am just now starting to get the success that I wanted. It takes time. It takes experience. It takes a lot of, trial and error to get to a point of being successful. And many of you came in the middle of a pandemic. Interest rates were at 0%. The Fed injected all of this liquidity. So the banks had all of this money. So they didn't mind giving you a credit card for $25,000, $50,000. What you have to understand is that now it's time to pay back those credit cards, because what you thought was a business was really funded through debt. And if you don't understand business cycles, if you don't understand now that the consumer is pulling back and you don't have the brand or following that these other people have, because remember, they're able to pay back and fund these credit cards through the course sales, through the speaking engagements. You don't have that. Now you're sitting here, you have 8 cars on Toro that are not renting. You have 10 Airbnbs and no one's booking them. And now you're stuck with all of this. And like JT is saying, this comes back to the banks. You really think that they're going to sit here and watch all these black people openly on social media promote fraud? You have never been in the Army or the Navy. You don't have any family members in the Navy. And you have people teaching you how you can go and run the Navy federal play. Do you understand there's something known as an IP address, a MAC ID? All right. You have a digital footprint. Every single thing that you are posting, every correspondence, every text message, every email is being documented. Just because you got away with it last year doesn't mean that they can't come back next year or the following year and get you. Be mindful, right? And with your platforms, if you're going to preach about all the pros, God damn it, tell the people about the cons too.
Yeah. And what people don't realize, banks are quick to turn their back on you, right? You can act like, well, the bank knew my financial situation. They knew when I put that down, I really didn't make that much money. They were cool with it. It's all about cover your own ass. When the shit hits the fan and you can't make those payments, the bank will act dumb. They were like, no, I really thought you made $250,000 a year. You put it right here down on the paper. The banks don't care. When it's time to actually pay the bill, when the bill is due, the bank will look at you and they will say, no, we're going to press charges for fraud because you said that you made $250,000 and you don't. At best, you make 60 or 80, right? I showed you guys the video of him 500 teaching people which credit cards to lie to, right? He said, don't tell American Express that you make $250,000 a year because they're actually going to make you show your tax returns. And you won't be able to do that. But you can tell this bank that you actually make that type of money. That's fraud. Just because you're not picking up a weapon and running into the bank and telling the teller, hey, give me all the money and walking out, that is what's called blue collar crime. White collar crime is when your weapon of choice is paperwork and you walk into the bank with this weapon of paperwork, fraudulent documents, you give it to them and you take money that you know you are not entitled to if it was not for this fraudulent paperwork. That is a crime too. And you can say, well, when white people do white collar crime, they don't get the time that we get. Well, you knew that already. Don't play dumb now. Don't act like a child now and say, why is it that when we do white collar crime, we get more time? I thought you was already woke, right? I thought y'all were already woke. If you were already woke, you would know, yes, you're going to get hit with more time than your white counterparts. But I'm corny because I'm telling you not to run the play. But listen, we're going 3 hours. Eli, please give us a summary. Let them know where they can find you.
So you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called What Happened to Common Sense. You can also follow me on Instagram. My name is Common Sense Eli on Instagram. Simple, the word common sense Eli, no underscores, no dashes. Please understand that I have a blue check. I'm verified now on Instagram. Once you follow me, a lot of fake pages are going to hit you up and ask you how trading is and all that. I will never DM you first or anything of the nature. I want to end with this. As I said before, and I'll say it again, I purchase courses to this day. We live in a digital age now. There's absolutely nothing wrong with purchasing courses. I spend $2,000, $3,000, $10, $15 on courses. Why? Because you want to constantly keep educating yourself. The day that you stop learning is the day that you die. Even in the corporate world, the professional world, there's something known as CE credits, right? Continuing education credits. You need to constantly
do 30 every year. Every year, Eli, I have to pay for 30.
Yeah, right. So JT will tell you there's nothing wrong with purchasing courses. There's nothing wrong with educating yourself. What's happening here has nothing to do with courses. This has to do with people taking money for investment and financial services that they are not delivering. This guy Cesar allegedly took $500,000 from a lady to go out and acquire a property, renovate that property, and then sell that property for a profit. Then she comes to find out he had already owned those properties, him and his wife, allegedly. They never acquired it. It's the same thing with big business, where you're going to him for mentorship and you're thinking you're getting a good deal, but this is a $5,000 or $2,500 profit that he's deeding over to you that has a tax lien or is on a condemned list. These are people who are not making money through real estate, are not making money through entrepreneurship. They are making money by preying on the ignorance of the culture of the community. And what they're doing is they're all running the same play. They're going to the Breakfast Club. They're going to $1 Million Worth of Game. They're going to EYL and whatever other large podcast to get in front of their audience, to position themselves as an authority to defraud people out of their money. And one thing I'll leave with this. I find it really funny that a lot of you claim to be so woke, and you love to call me an agent and you call JT an agent, and we're just trying to tear down black men. But notice that all of these men who are defrauding the community, they all go to one platform in particular, which is the Breakfast Club. And they all have the same similar story, right? The reformed thug, the reformed criminal, the 3-time felon, the guy who sold drugs. And now he's reformed himself and he's coming to the community to save the people. It's the same pattern and the same play. Maybe those people who are being put in front of you, maybe those are the agents. Maybe those people are the COINTELPRO. Did you ever think that? Who are these people? Where did they come from? Who were they prior to getting in front of you on these podcasts and these platforms? Because see, just because they don't work directly for the agency doesn't mean that they're not working for the agency. Go and watch the movie Belly. See, the powers that be love to use ineffective leadership because they know if you got someone like Jay leading you, you ain't going to get too far. So see, it's the reason why here we are now 30, 40, 50 years later, and we're still having the same conversations, and we have the same grifters leading us, whether it's the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons. Now we have the financial literacy hustlers and grifters. It's the same thing. At a certain point, you have to just look at things for what they are and say to yourself, a lot of these things don't make sense. And we as Black people, like Kevin Samuels used to always say, it is important that we take back our media and what it means to be Black, right? All of us don't sell drugs. All of us did not go to jail. All of us are not doing it for the culture. And you need to be very leery of a person who wants to come to you and market to you that way. And you need to be very careful of platforms who constantly push that type of imagery to you, because we as Black people, we are diverse. It is cool to be a nerd. It is cool to be lame. Because last time I checked, we are winning. The nerds are running the world. So I would say to you, be very, very mindful of these things, right? And understand you should question everything that's put in front of you whenever a person is saying, out of all of the people in the world, I want to come and work with the poorest. Because at the end of the day, in most cases, it turns out to not be in our favor.
No, not at all. Unless it's some sort of nonprofit organization. If they're going to the poor saying, I'm going to help you, and it's not a nonprofit organization, it just doesn't make sense. That's not how business works. But listen, y'all been rocking with me for 3 hours. I appreciate it. We had over 2,000 people here. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, go to Eli's channel. The link will be in the description of this video. Go to Tony's channel. The link is in the description of this video. And you can go to my website, pocketwatcher.net. You can click Ask JT. You can ask me a personal finance question and it might get answered on the show. Or you can go to my free finance course that helps you learn how to create a budget and get out of debt. Just go to pocketwatcher.net, click the Pocket Watcher Academy button, enroll, and you'll learn how to get out of debt. There's no plays. There's no hustles. I'm not going to teach you how to finesse the bank. I'm going to teach you how to become financially responsible because you're an adult. All right, guys. Thank y'all. Y'all see me next time.